Might need to pan. Not sure which way, but. We're on streaming?
Yep.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome, Happy New Year. I will call to order the organizational meeting for 2024 of the town of Rochester. We will start with pledge to the flag, and then I would ask you just have a moment of remembrance for all who departed in the previous year. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ask the town clerk to do the roll call, please.
Councilman Coleman.
Here.
Councilwoman Dindal. Here. Councilwoman Allen.
Here.
Councilwoman Suisa. Here. Supervisor Baden.
Here. We will start out with the swearing in of elected officials. We have 4 officials who are present this evening to be sworn in. Highway Superintendent Fry was unable to attend. We will start out with our re-elected Court Justice Laflamme, and if you would come up, and Kate will, our town clerk, will do the honors of swearing you in.
I'm gonna do this. Let's do it over here.
I'm gonna move over.
No, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work.
I need to sign 3 spots.
I don't think.
Let me get. So I have the file one with the clerk, but you have the file one.
Right, with the town.
I don't know if you know.
I would want to.
I'll work on, but this is what I will do to the county and to the state office, court administration.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you, Elaine LaFlamme, solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge your duties as town justice according to the best of your ability? Please. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You need to hang on to this?
Nope, I have one.
Okay. The next, we need to do Councilwoman Anowen, her re-election.
Please raise your right hand. You, Aaron Allen, solemnly swear that you support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you'll faithfully discharge your duties as town council according to the best of your ability. Congratulations.
Okay, next, Councilwoman Emily Dindal. Welcome to the board.
Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear that you support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you'll faithfully discharge your duties as town council according to the best of your ability. Yes. You said that. Congratulations. Welcome.
And I would like to Councilwoman.
Please raise your right hand. I, Michael Bain, solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge your duties as town supervisor according to the best of your ability.
Okay, thank you very much, Kate. I just want to point out too that our longtime town clerk, Ronnie Summer, always pointed out that it is the same oath of office that George Washington took. And it has stayed word for word the same since then. It just always makes me kind of be interesting about that. Yeah, he was the town supervisor of the town of Rochester. Congratulations and thank you.
Good night.
Supervisor's update. There is not a huge amount to update, this being our first meeting of the year. I did want to remind people who maybe are listening on YouTube that we have two special meetings coming up. One on next Wednesday, January 10th at 6:30 p.m. And that will be a meeting where people can come hear about and ask questions about the zoning and subdivision codes. And we will do the same on Saturday, January 20th. That will be from, we say 9 a.m.? 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. So those are two opportunities for people to come. As a follow-up to our public hearings, there were notices of these meetings put in the tax bills, and I want to say a very big thank you, Town Clerk Gunberg and her staff, for getting those in those. Very, very appreciated. It was a lot of work and excellent as always. Thank you. Yeah. So we will move into the resolutions of the organizational meeting. We will read the resolution. Since we have a new member, I'll just explain so everybody knows what we're doing. We will ask for a motion in a second. If there's any discussion on the item, we will have it, and then we will take a vote. And we're not racing to set a record like has happened in the past, but we will move through rather quickly. It is a long agenda. So the first is the adoption of the agenda for the 2024 organizational meeting as prepared by the supervisor. We will be adding one resolution as requested by Councilwoman Anawan and Councilwoman Smisat, and that is designating an official town photographer. So we will be adding that when we get into the designations. I'll be adding it in. Okay, if you want to, however you want to renumber, if you put an A in or whatever. Yeah, so.
Wait, I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Can-
Yes.
Can I ask, so this was updated, were there anything else added or was it correction?
There is one correction that I will just say when we get to it. There were no more ads. The update was primarily the insurance numbers were not in there originally because I got them yesterday afternoon from our insurance agent. And there was one other change, and there is one error that needs to be corrected in that I neglected to put one employee on the appointment list. And we will correct that when we get to that appointment. So, but it's not an additional resolution, just a correction. So I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay, adopting rules of order of the town board of the town of Rochester. Whereas Town Law 63 provides that the town board may determine the rules of its procedure, now therefore be it resolved that the following rules of order be, and the same are hereby adopted pursuant to Town Law 63. The supervisor shall preside at all meetings of the board and shall preserve order and decorum in debate. The supervisor, immediately following the opening of every regular meeting of the board, shall proceed to the regular order of the town business as follows: financial reports, attorney reports, supervisor's report, town clerk, tax collector reports, highway superintendent report, liaison reports, public comment, board member time, resolutions, discussion, A supervisor may change the agenda order. Every resolution or motion must be seconded before being put to a vote by the supervisor, and all resolutions or motions shall be recorded in their entirety in the official minutes of the town board. The supervisor may offer or second a resolution or a motion and need not relinquish the chair for such purpose. No motion or resolution may be brought to a vote except by the majority consent of those present, unless printed or typewritten copies thereof are presented to each member of the board 48 hours prior to the opening of the meeting at which such motion or resolution is offered. No member shall speak more than once on any discussion until every member choosing to speak shall have spoken, no more than twice in any case without leave of the board. When a question is under debate, no motion shall be entertained unless A, for adjournment or recess, B, for the previous question to lay on the table, postpone, to refer to a committee, or to amend. These letter motions are neither amendable nor debatable. No motion shall be made to offer any amendment to an amendment already before the board on any propositions. The majority vote of the members of the board shall be required to suspend these rules of order. The majority of the board shall constitute a quorum. Public hearings, it shall be the duty of the supervisor to preside at all general or business or special business hearings, to instruct all persons addressing the board to state their name. And actually, we should strike that because that is actually, we can't require them, we can request them. So unless we want to,
Well, it just says instruct you.
Oh,
They don't
instruct,
have to
okay.
listen.
Okay, at such hearings, the board may by special rules prescribe the time to be allotted to each speaker and the number of times each speaker may speak. No person shall be recognized to speak a second time until all have been heard once. No member of the public shall engage in any demonstration, booing, hand clapping, or otherwise disrupt the formality of a town board meeting. All regular business meetings of the town board will include a time for public comment. The town board may limit the time per speaker, the number of times the speaker may speak, and the duration of the comment period in entirety. Any person speaking to the board shall address their remarks to the board, not to other members of the audience in the form of a debate. The town board will not respond to comments made during the public comment session. However, a board member may respond should they wish during board member time of the agenda. The supervisor may extend privilege of the floor to a member of the public for the purposes of a public service announcement or presentation. Every effort will be made to broadcast all meetings of the board and made available to the public digitally, except audit meetings where the only agenda item is review and payment of vouchers. If the above stated rules are or become at any time in conflict with the statutory law, the statutory law shall take precedence. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Is there any discussion? This is what we've had in place for the last 2 years. Anybody wants to offer any changes?
I just have two, one is for number 5, I know, 5 is the one I might have already done wrong. Is that, I don't know if we have to change the wording here, but that, resolutions and the backup information for them is 48 hours prior that we get that. So that we have it in front of us and can be able to go through it before voting on the resolution.
You can try on the backup. It may not always be 48 hours on the backup, but I will always try to get it to you as soon as possible. But sometimes with the time crunch of the meeting, getting everything together may not always be possible.
Yeah, I think this is just saying that if we don't have a backup 48 hours in advance, then we need majority consent to.
Okay.
So like,
Yeah.
it's just that.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Resolution,
Yeah.
So no motion, unless printed or typewritten copies of the agenda and backup.
yes.
Okay, so we're gonna add in there of the agenda and backup. And obviously, any amendments that come in at the last 2 days, you'll just get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, and you had one other one?
Yeah, and I had one other one for number 15, I think we need to say, in here, except audit meetings. I would say except audit meetings and then another, and take out the remainder of that sentence unless there's a public hearing scheduled at that meeting, unless another meeting is scheduled with that meeting. Cause we should be broadcasting if there's a special meeting or a public
Right.
hearing before the audit meeting.
Well, but the audit meeting is the
Well-
whole meeting, the audit, if we do business, so we usually broadcast the business of the audit meeting, and then just the audit of the bills is when we turn off the. So that's pretty much what
except
it's
for
saying.
meetings to, except audit meetings to accept auditing of the bills,
So the audit portion.
except for the audit
Okay,
portion.
Can I ask a question?
sure, certainly.
Why don't we broadcast audit meetings?
Because the audit meeting is us sitting around passing bills around the table. It's like watching paint dry. We can,
We used to.
we used to, and then a lot of people were like, why do you broadcast them? And so we stopped doing it because there was really no interest in people watching us pass bills around the table.
They're also still public meetings, so people
Yeah.
can come watch.
Every meeting we have has to be public. They can come watch. Sometimes we do agenda items before the auditing of the bills. So
Which we
what we do is we broadcast up until that point, and then when we go with the audit of the bills is the last thing. If we want to broadcast them, it's no issue. We can. This was just what we decided 2 years ago to do, and have continued, so.
I don't think while we're signing the bills is so important, but I think if we're saying that it's audit meetings in here, then we can't have any other resolution or other than auditing the bills. If we're saying specifically in our rules of order that we aren't broadcasting audit meetings, then
Well, we're saying audit means where the only agenda item is review and payment of vouchers.
that's
so-
not true always, is what I'm saying. We don't always only.
No, those are the ones that we
agenda
don't
item.
broadcast.
I think if we just say audit portion of the meeting.
Okay. I think it's saying what it means to say, but I understand you don't like the way it says it, but I think it is saying what it means to say.
I think it's fine either way.
Yeah.
So let's just make a change.
Yeah, so what was the change, Aaron, that you, because I wasn't.
That.
Because the whole meeting is the audit meeting, so if we were saying accept audit meetings, if we were doing business at an audit meeting, if we adopted that way, then we wouldn't broadcast that.
Yeah, so then why not a
So-
sentence at the end, except for audit meetings where other business is on the agenda?
Okay. Yep. Except audit meetings where other business is on the agenda.
Does that mean?
Yeah, it does. We can add and say the auditing of the bills will not be.
Okay.
We'll add another sentence, the auditing of the bills. Will not be broadcast.
Do we have a limit on how much we can post on our YouTube page?
No.
They have not said anything yet, and
No.
we have three and a half years worth of meetings up, and
In fact, now that we put so much on there.
we actually
a
have our own.
Bespoke.
Yeah.
YouTube address.
Oh, really?
So, okay, so I have a motion for the amendment. Do I have a second?
Oh, I have.
Oh, you have another one, okay.
You have, I can go after you.
I was thinking that maybe we should strike 6 because we don't do that. So it just feels like a rule.
I'm
that we're
fine with
not
that,
following.
yep. So we're gonna delete 6. And we'll lump these all in as one amendment, and then one person can make that motion for that amendment,
Toward the end.
because that's pretty much the way. And so you have one as well?
Number 11 just seems pretty broad to me. No member of the public shall.
That's actually straight out of this New York State's language.
And we have to adopt. with
We
it.
don't have to adopt it, but I'm just saying the wording is straight out of New York State language.
It's a little broad. In my opinion.
I don't think so.
No member of the public, you
What-
mean
It's a
at the
public
meeting?
meeting, or why can't a member of the public engage in demonstration?
It's to keep it essentially disrupts the meeting. I mean, if somebody from the public decides to start demonstrating, you know, there is an order to the process. There is public comment time, people can speak, but the meeting is for town business to take place. The public can observe. They don't have a right to participate. We give them the right to speak. And we don't even have to do that. We do. But it if somebody decides they want to start a demonstration in the middle of a meeting, to me, that would be a problem.
I guess I don't see where it's at. I guess I just didn't understand that there are rules.
Basically, it's saying that the
Disrupt.
public should not disrupt the meeting, is by saying, engage in demonstration, booing, hand clapping, or otherwise disrupt.
What about something like the board can, if it's disrupting the meeting, the board can like ask them to stop?
Can, but
Suggestion.
That's how it happens in practice. I mean,
yeah, that is how
Who asked?
it's actually,
It happens,
it's the
but we don't
supervisor's,
stop.
it's the
Okay.
supervisor's role as the chair of the meeting to manage the meeting. So if somebody is being disruptive, we occasionally have people that start side conversations that escalate to the point that we can't even hear ourselves.
Yeah, so you're saying, so I'm just
And I
saying,
guess
so it
that-
sounds like you don't even. It sounds like.
Well,
people are
it's in
doing
there,
minor stuff.
we kind of
Okay.
do, because without it, we don't have the ability to enforce it.
We also can't really enforce it,
We
like
can't.
people are allowed to hear.
You're right.
What were you gonna say, Mary Lou?
Just to give you guys a little background, we used to not have this, and this goes back decades to when we had some very controversial and emotional things before the board. And it was nearly impossible to hold a board meeting. People were either clapping or booing other people, being very disruptive. The board members couldn't hear the people who were speaking or each other. And that's why this was put into place. It was because of actual problems at many meetings.
And not everybody respects the process. So there's an assumption that people will respect the process, but by having this rule, and it's rare that it is enforced per se. And, one time I was at one meeting where somebody had to be asked to leave the meeting because they continuously disrupted the meeting by just making comments to the board. It was not the appropriate time for them to speak. And they got to the point that they were just trying to speak over the board constantly. And eventually the supervisor asked them to leave, and they did. But you have a right to observe. You don't have a right to disrupt and stop the business of the people, which is what we're here to do. So it's a balance, but I kind of feel it does need to be in there because, there have been meetings where people come in very emotional, and it just adds an order to the process.
And at any point as a board, we can theoretically
We
vote
can,
to allow somebody
yeah.
to speak. who we feel
Yeah.
Deserves to be heard.
Okay.
Good demonstration.
Yeah.
Let them have their time.
I mean, people have come in with signs. Some boards have banned signs. We have never done that. There was a meeting here where the entire members of the public were all handed paper signs to hold up, and they did, and they made their point. But it wasn't disruptive because they were silently holding up the sign. So that was okay. Okay, so with the 3 amendments that were made, which are number 16, number 5, and we're deleting number 6.
It was number 15.
Number
not
15.
16.
Oh, my apologies. Yep, I wrote the notes under 16. So number 15, 5, and deleting 6. So if somebody want to make that amendment?
I'll make the motion for that amendment.
Okay, now the second on the amendment. Okay, so we're gonna vote on the motion as amended. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, next is the agenda policy for town board meetings. The town supervisor shall prepare each meeting agenda and transmit such agenda to the town clerk, town board, highway superintendent, attorney for the town, and website coordinator no later than 48 hours prior to each meeting. The first resolution to be considered at each meeting shall be the adoption of the agenda as presented or as may be amended by majority vote. The town board member, the highway superintendent, the town clerk, a town justice, or any department head or supervisory employee of a department who wishes a resolution or discussion item to be placed on the agenda shall forward such written request to include the written resolution and or supportive documentation to the supervisor no later than 3 days prior to the meeting for guaranteed addition. Backup material for the agenda will be prepared by the supervisor and emailed to the town board members, and public backup material will be sent to the website coordinator for posting no later than, we should change this to 48 hours since our last amendment that we made. Prior to the meeting, supervisor reserves the ability to add agenda items with the consent of the town board members for emergency or time-sensitive items.
I'll make that motion
As amended, right?
as amended.
Okay.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Voting procedures pursuant to Town Law Article 4, 60, 63, and 64, which voting of the town board will be taken by voice vote of ayes and noes, unless a roll call vote is requested by a council member. Roll call voting shall be conducted in alphabetical order of each council member, followed by the town supervisor. The town clerk or appointed minute taker shall keep a record of the vote of each council member for each vote.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second.
discussion?
Should we amend it to say unless requested by a council member or required by law? Because sometimes we have to take a roll call. Right?
Yeah, but that is required. So it would already be. The required by law would supersede these are our,
Okay.
I mean, we can add it, but it's the
Okay.
law supersedes us. We must do it. There's no option. So this is just that we do the voice vote unless at any resolution, any board member can call for a roll call vote. And it doesn't even have to be seconded. You can just say, I'd like a roll call vote on this, and then we do a roll call. So. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Powers and duties of elected and appointed officials. The powers and duties of elected and appointed individuals shall be in accordance with Town Law Article 3. Additional duties may be authorized and delegated as allowable pursuant to New York State laws. These powers and duties shall be considered the job description of each elected and or appointed position.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Okay. Authorizing of supervisor to administer day-to-day town business. Pursuant to Town Law Article 3, Section 2916, that the town board hereby authorizes and delegates to the town supervisor the powers and duties of day-to-day administration and supervision of all town and special improvement district facilities and employees consistent with and in furtherance of any and all county, state, and federal laws applicable thereto, and with any and all collective bargaining agreements, local laws, resolutions, or policies heretofore or hereafter adopted by the town board.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Selection of monthly regular business town board meeting dates. Pursuant to Town Law Article 4, Section 62, the town board 2024 monthly regular business town board meeting shall be held on the first Thursday of each month at 6:30 p.m. in the Harold Lipton Community Center, 15 Tobacco Road, Accord, New York, 12404. Request the town clerk to post legal notice of such meeting schedule. Exception to this shall be July and October, which shall be held on the first Tuesday. So the days would be January 4th, February 1st, March 7th, April 4th, May 2nd, June 6th, Tuesday, July 2nd, because of Independence Day, August 1st, September 5th, Tuesday, October 1st, and that was a conflict with, one of the Jewish holidays, and I apologize, was it Rosh Hashanah? Thank you. November 7th and December 5th. Do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Selection of town monthly workshop, town board meeting dates. Pursuant to Town Law Article 4, Section 62, that the Town Board 2024 monthly workshop town board meeting shall be held on the second Thursday of each month at 6:30 p.m. at the Harold Lipton Community Center, 15 Tobacco Road, Accord, New York, 12404. Request the town clerk to post legal notice of such meeting schedule, and there are no conflicts with those dates. January 11th, February 8th, March 14, April 11, May 9, June 13, July 11, August 8, September 12, August 10, November 14, and December 12.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Next is our audit. Pursuant to Town Law Article 462, that the town board meeting to audit the town's bills shall be held on the last Thursday of each month at 6, that should say 6:30. Apologies. At the Harold Lipton Community Center, 15 Tobacco Road, Accord, New York, 12404. Request the town clerk to post legal notice of such meeting schedule. Exception to this shall be March and October 2024, which will be held on the last Wednesday, November of 2024, which will be held on the last Tuesday, and December of 2024, which will be held on the last Monday. So they will be January 25, February 29, Wednesday, March 27th, and that's because the 28th is the day before Good Friday. April 25, May 30th, June 27th, July 25, August 29, September 26, Wednesday, October 30th. We did not want to sign the bills on Halloween night. Tuesday, November 26th, because of Thanksgiving, and Monday, December 30th, because the Wednesday or the Thursday would be the day after Christmas. So, do I have that motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Apologies for all the wackiness at the on the audit meeting dates, but we just had a bunch of holidays this year. Designation of town banks pursuant to General Municipal Law Article 2, Section 10 and 11, and Town Law Article 3, Section 29, that Webster Bank, Bank of Greene County, BNY Mellon, NBT Bank, Ulster Savings Bank, and Key Bank Corporation shall be the depositories of town funds, and that the supervisor shall be authorized without limit to deposit funds at such financial institutions and other banks and trust companies that meet New York State criteria for such institutions to obtain the most favorable rates and charges available. Supervisor shall be authorized to open, operate, maintain, and manage any deposit, checking, and investment accounts at any such institution on behalf of the town. Shall have signing authority over such accounts. The deputy supervisor shall also have signing authority over such accounts.
I'll make that motion.
1 second.
I'll second.
I've added the Bank of Greene County this year because they have some very favorable investment rates that I hope in the next month to deposit some of our funding into that bank. I'm going to try to schedule a meeting with them in the next week to see what they can offer us. And it's not locked into that we can't touch it. We can move in and out at will. So I'm hoping we can. Webster Bank, where we do out of Ellenville, where we do our day-to-day banking, does not have the same availability, but and then the other banks that are listed are where our justice court clerks choose to do business.
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
That's not for public comment right now, sir, but thank you for understanding. So do I have that motion?
Yep, I
Okay.
made the motion.
And a second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Be happy to answer afterward, sir. Thank you for understanding. Designation of official newspaper pursuant to town law, Article 4, Section 6411. That the Shangam Journal, a newspaper regularly published in Ulster County and having a general circulation in this town, and being a newspaper entered as a second-class mail matter, shall be designated the town's official newspaper. Legal notices may also be published in the Daily Freeman if the Shangam Journal is not available in the timely manner.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Designated town holidays pursuant to the employee handbook and the IBEW Local 363 collective bargaining agreement. The following are designated town holidays. All town offices shall be closed for services on these dates. And I'd like to add in there, including the transfer station. That is New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Day, President's Day, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day, Election Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, Native American Heritage Day, which is also known as the day after Thanksgiving, or it is now known as Black Friday in many places. Christmas Day, and we will also adopt New Year's Day of 2025 because it will be predates our next organizational meeting. Additionally, the town justice court offices will be closed on New York State primary election day, with the respective employees receiving full pay provided they are scheduled to work and not utilizing vacation, sick, or personal time, paid time off. Additionally, all offices, including the transfer station, will close at 12 noon on Tuesday, December 24, and Tuesday, December 31, with employees receiving full pay provided they are scheduled to work and not utilizing vacation, sick, or personal paid time off. All employees utilizing paid time off on those dates will be required to utilize a full day of paid time off. All employees who regularly work greater than 20 hours per week will receive holiday pay for these designated holidays, whether it is a regularly scheduled work day or not, provided they are not utilizing vacation, sick, or personal time paid time off. Those are New Year's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, Native American Heritage Day, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, 25. I have that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
The change in here is that we are now officially going to close at noon on those, with Christmas and New Year's being on a Wednesday this year. I think it's the right thing to do for our employees to let them get to their families. However, if somebody takes the day with paid time off, they should have to utilize the full time. That's my opinion anyway. In the paid days off, the greater than 20 hours, we neglected to include Labor Day in it last year, and I've added that in as those are the major holidays, as it were. So it only affects primarily 5 employees, our transfer station and our court clerks, who don't normally work every day of the week, Monday through Friday. So there are some days of holidays that they would not be paid for, and this way they are paid. So it really only affects about 6 employee days. Any other questions or discussion?
I'm gonna make a request, from myself, but also from some employees that, we actually close the offices on at least Christmas Eve. I think New Year's Eve would also be nice, but at least Christmas Eve to completely close the offices for the whole thing. I don't know how anyone else feels about it. I would like to do both, but if someone feels one way or the other, over one over the other, I just think that our employees work really hard and the holidays are hard to schedule around and to come in for 4 hours.
Are the board's okay if I ask Kate, who runs the clerk's office, her opinion on that? Because,
Absolutely.
okay, I just want to be sure, because a lot of, we're there to serve the people. And so I want to make sure we're serving the people. So,
Yeah, that's why I was saying at least Christmas Eve, most people don't tend to do, if you're celebrating
Can-
Christmas stuff.
so if we do this, we also need to then do it in our highway, and because we have to now amend the collective bargaining agreement to do that, can we, table that motion, that amendment for the moment until I can find out from the union representative what we need? Because if we do it for all the employees, we have to
We
do
have
it
to
for
add
the
it to
highway,
their
and I would have to add it into their contract. So,
Wouldn't we have to do that anyway with this? Because they'd be getting a half day off?
no, because we can designate them, we can let them leave early in their
Oh.
contract. But if we're gonna make this be an official holiday, two things should happen. One is we should adopt it as part of our employee handbook. And secondly, we should adopt it as part of our collective bargaining agreement. Those aren't something I can just do on the fly right now. And since it's not gonna happen for 11 more months, I'm
So
not,
can we take that sentence out then for now that says that the offices will be open until 12 till we decide that for
Okay.
Christmas Eve and New
Or-
Year's Eve? Just
Aren't we
take out
just
that one
saying that-
section.
But are we designating them official holidays, or are we just saying
well,
offices will be closed and employees will get paid?
so I guess I should ask that question. Is this a 1 year thing or is this a permanent thing? Because if we do it for 1 year, it's gonna be expected as a permanent thing. If it's gonna be a permanent thing, then we should do it correctly and not just do it on the fly here. If we're not gonna do it as a permanent thing and just do it for this coming year. The other question is, if it falls on a weekend, or if we're making it a holiday, are we now paying people? There's a lot more to discuss about.
Can we table it, get the answers and then?
Yeah,
take it
well,
up in our-
what I would suggest is what Charlotte just said, we take that sentence out for now. We adopt the rest of this and then we
And
take
then we
that
can
up,
edit that.
yeah. Well, you don't even have to edit it, we just adopt
It would
that
make that-
section.
Why not just table the whole resolution?
Because we need to set our holidays because we have, like Martin Luther King Day coming up in 2 weeks and
But it's
so,
after our workshop.
yeah. Is there a
I think-
reason to table the whole resolution, just to
No.
not take out that one sentence?
Is there something else you wanted to talk about?
No, I think it's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
let's just make sure we come back.
Oh, absolutely. No, I just, I'm not prepared to,
So,
No.
we'll get calls, guys, don't worry.
We're removing the first bold section.
we're removing from the words additional to PTO.
So that won't hold.
So Charlotte is making that amendment to remove that section. Because I would like to get Michael Richardson's opinion on that if I'm forgetting some reason, because essentially if we're gonna make them both town holidays, we're adding 2 more holidays. So,
Mary Lou, do you have any concerns with us doing that? With us taking this section out, voting on it, and then amending it once we get more details?
I mean, you can do it as is and then you can always amend, you can always add them later, depending how you decide to do it, whether it's changing for every year or just for this year. You have plenty of time before those holidays.
I mean, in the past, so this has been fallen under when it wasn't in the resolution, it fell to the supervisor under day-to-day operations, where I would just decide with the highway superintendent and the town clerk that we're gonna close at such and such a time.
Yeah, okay.
And we would decide to close the offices. This year, I actually was putting it into the resolution.
Let's
So,
vote.
okay. As amended, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay, appointment of town accountants. Pursuant to town law, Article 8, Section 116(8) and 123, and Article 4, Section 64, that the firm of RBT CPA shall be retained as independent auditor, certified public accountants to the town for the preparation of and it should say 2023, annual update document for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2023.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. And it does have a new name now. It is it's not the annual update document anymore. Kate, I'm gonna have to get you the actual name. They changed it this year. It was the annual update document. Resolution and filing of the annual financial report. Pursuant to Town Law, Article 3, Section 2910A, that the supervisor shall submit to the town clerk within the period prescribed in Section 30 of the General Municipal Law, copy of the report to the state comptroller required by Section 30 of the General Municipal Law, providing, however, if the time for the filing of the annual report has been extended by the state comptroller as provided in the said statute, that the time for submitting a copy of the report to the town clerk similarly shall be extended. The town clerk shall cause either a summary of such report to be published within 10 days after receipt thereof in a form approved by the state comptroller, or a notice that a copy of such report is on file in the town clerk's office and is available for public inspection and copying in the official newspaper and in such other newspapers as the town board may direct. Have that motion.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Appointment of legal advisors pursuant to Town Law, Article 3, Section 22B, that Mary Lou Christiana shall be appointed attorney for the town and attorney for the zoning board of appeals, at an hourly rate of $225 per hour, to be paid upon monthly itemized invoice, voucher, and audit, subject to the provisions of the use of professionals policy. Supervisor shall be authorized to retain additional counsel as necessary and appropriate, and that Gordon and Svensson shall be appointed attorney for the planning board at an hourly rate of $225 to be paid upon monthly itemized invoice, voucher, and audit, subject to the provisions of the use of professionals policy.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Town planning consultant, that David Church, AICP, be appointed planning consultant for the town of Rochester Planning Board at an hourly rate of $150 to be paid upon monthly itemized invoice, voucher, and audit, subject to provisions of the use of professionals policy.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Payment of advance claims pursuant to Town Law, Article 8, Section 118, that the town board authorizes the town supervisor to pay claims of public utility services defined as electric, gas, water, sewer, fuel oil, and telephone services, postage and freight and express charges not to exceed $1,000 in advance of submitted audit bills. All such claims shall be presented at the next regular meeting for audit, and the claimant and the office incurring or approving the same shall be jointly and severally liable for any amount disallowed by the town.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Authorization of highway superintendent purchases pursuant to Highway Law, Article 7, 142, 1A, that the town board authorizes the highway superintendent to purchase equipment, tools, and other implements to be used for highway maintenance, construction or reconstruction, snow plows, and that's how it's spelled in the law, or other devices for the removal of snow from the highways for monies appropriate for that purpose, not to exceed $7,500, subject to the conditions of the town procurement policy without prior approval of the town board, except in the case of emergency repairs where statutory limits would apply. All such claims shall be presented at the next meeting for audit. Do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Discussion? All in favor?
No, I just would like to add into this resolution, where it's, except in the case of emergency repairs for town-owned property.
Roads aren't town-owned property. So if they have to make emergency repair.
Or, well, I just want it to be clear that vehicle up to $7,500, that it's only for town-owned vehicles. If repairs have to be done to someone else's vehicle, it has to come to the town board.
Yeah, those wouldn't be emergency. Emergency repairs it's gotta be done immediately.
I think that's more like bridges and roads, like during hurricanes.
Yeah, this is like if they gotta go out and rebuild a road over a weekend and gotta spend $50,000 to rebuild that road, he doesn't have to, we don't have to convene to approve it.
Okay,
So,
I thought
yeah.
that this was like if they're making purchases of parts or.
No,
any
this is emergency repairs,
Yeah, okay.
meaning it's gotta be done by the next day or the next hour or whatever the case may be.
Fair
And then
enough.
this resolution, he's actually spending the funds
Yeah.
directly. He's
Directly,
not,
okay, there's no.
we're not getting billed
Mhm.
as we were
Yes.
for those other repairs that we then
Yes.
audited and.
Understood, so we can vote then.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained. Petty cash fund pursuant to town law, Article 4, Section 64(1)(a). The town board authorizes establishment of petty cash funds of $300 for the town clerk tax collector, $200 for the recreation director, and that each department head shall be responsible for the accounting in accordance with town law, Article 8, Section 118.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Right, is there any reason why we don't just have them be the same?
We found that the town clerk needs $300 and because they deal in cash more often. The recreation director also deals in cash in like after school programs, so
Yeah.
that's the reason. The comptroller wants you to have least amount of cash available, and so we actually could possibly even lower recreation to 100, but
We haven't had any issues though where they needed
no,
cash.
they,
I was strictly, my office is strictly for making changes, stay the same amount at all times.
it never
It's
changes.
never to be used for
Yeah.
purchasing anything.
Yeah, and none of this petty cash really is used for purchasing because the recreation department has a credit card that they can utilize. This is more, again, for making cash. They're the only two departments that take cash.
This is for if they're on a field trip and they have to pay cash for something really, that they have it on hand to be able to pay for if they're doing something with that, they're off site and have.
Or for making change.
As long
Yeah.
as we haven't run into issues.
No,
Stuff getting.
no, but we used to have more departments that cash, but before we were on the board, policy was adopted that we don't take cash anymore, and there's a lot of good reason why, and I could explain that, but
Okay, I'll go with it.
okay. I got a motion
Yeah,
second, right?
second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, that the town board authorizes the budget officer to make budget modifications to the 2023. Sorry, thought I got them all, but I missed a few. As required to close the 2023 budget year, provided a copy of all modifications is presented to the town board.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I will present, once we get it all reconciled, I'll present any of the changes and you guys will approve them. But this allows me to just change the numbers in the budgeting. So we are at a positive number on all funds. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Insurance contract, and I just got these numbers yesterday. So pursuant to town law, section 64(3) and 4, and general municipal law, section 52. The town board authorizes the supervisor to sign the insurance contract to secure full and adequate insurance to protect the property of the town against fire and theft, protect the town for the many exposures to liability for tort damages and other claims that exist today, as submitted by Sprague and Colleen for the year 2024. On average, we're at about a 5% or less increase in each one, which I was very pleased.
Remember what we budgeted?
We're within budget.
Okay.
Yeah, we're within budget. I haven't checked the totals against it because I have to break down like automobile between highway and general, but we're within budget. Commercial fire is $9,630. The New York Fire insurance fee is $44.99. The crime fidelity policy is $50. The inland marine is $6,200. The general liability is $22,497. The business automobile is $29,749. The New York State motor vehicle fee is $150. The umbrella excess liability is $16,349. The flood and earthquake is $1,436. The police professional liability, and that is for our constables, but it is called police because they are peace officers, is $2,355. The public officials policy is $10,122. The OCP protective liability is $362. The crime policy is $537. The cybersecurity policy is $8,236.88. I'm sorry, that should be a decimal point, not a comma. And the recreation accident health is $1,010. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Most of these bills we will get in your January vouchers to sign. There are a couple that we've already paid. The recreation health is due January 1, so we paid that already. That policy has not changed in the 6 years I've been supervisor, so. And Dwight says that a lot of companies are no longer carrying that policy, so he's very happy, and that covers our recreation program liability insurance, so.
Have you totaled these out?
I did not total them all, but it does fit within our budget. We may have to move some from one insurance line to a different insurance line, but the total is less than what we budgeted. That much I know. Because I budgeted about an 8 to 10% increase, and it was only 5, so we probably should have a little bit of extra. I don't know if I asked for a motion. I did, didn't I? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain. I will have the book too of the full policy in my possession next week if anybody wants to come in and read the insurance book. It's a binder about this thing. Town contractual services pursuant to town law, Article 4, Section 64(6), that the town board authorizes the following contractual service expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2024. Authorize the supervisor to execute on behalf of the town any related contracts upon submittal of an accounting by the organization of the use of the, boy, did I miss a lot of them, 2023 funding. And the expectation of the purpose of the 2024 funding, the supervisor shall verify the operation of the organization. That we can probably remove. That is a carryover, so we will remove that last sentence. Because there were some organizations that were not operating. They are the Kerhonkson Pool, which is an increase from 20,000 to 30,000. The Indian Valley Little League is $900. The Rondout Valley Youth Football and Cheer is $900. The Barracuda Swim Team is $900. The library services, the Ellenville Public Library is $13,750. The Stone Ridge Library is $14,341. The Little Ones Learning Center is $5,200. Adult recreation, excuse me. The Rochester Seniors is $5,000. The Kerhonkson Accord Golden Seniors is $500. The Kerhonkson Accord Jewish Seniors is $500. And the Friends of Historic Rochester Museum is $5,000.
I'll make that motion as amended.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. For the public, if anybody is curious why the public libraries are 2 different amounts, the Ellenville Library is under a different library system. The Stone Ridge Library is funded by the residents of Marbletown, and they make available for us 100 subscriptions. All Rondout Valley students can use it for free, but the 100 subscriptions, that is the tax dollar amount for the Marbletown residents for 100 subscriptions. So we pay them the equivalent of it. So it goes up a little bit each year. And that is the reason for the difference in the price. We do have a lot of people who are in the closer to Stone Ridge that rather than go all the way to Ellenville, prefer to go to Stone Ridge, which is why we fund both libraries. So, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Compensation and Benefits Manual. This was a request by our HR consultant. The Town of Rochester Town Board authorized the town supervisor to forward all amendments adopted since the inception of this document dated December 1, 2018 for edit and presentation to the town board for readoption.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
So we're just simply compiling all the changes we've made since 18. We're not changing anything that hasn't already been adopted and just updating our document to be accurate. When we did the last training with all the town employees, I pointed out to him the number of changes that we have adopted, and he said we should really clean it. at this point. So, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Similar here, the Town of Rochester Town Board authorized the town supervisor to forward all amendments adopted since the inception of the document dated December 1, 2018, for edit and presentation to the town board for readoption. This is for the employee practices.
I'll make that motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Personal vehicle use pursuant to town law, Article 8, Section 116(1), town vehicles shall be utilized for the conduct of town business when available. However, the town board authorizes employees and officials of the town to utilize personal vehicles in the conduct of town business with prior authorization from their department head, the supervisor, or resolution of the town board. Such persons shall be eligible for reimbursement at the IRS reimbursement per mile rate for documented use upon presentation of documentation and audit, and that for 2024 is 67 cents per mile.
I'll make that motion.
For a second.
Second. Is there a form that gets used for this?
We do not use a standard form. We ask them to, different people use different forms, but we ask them to show a starting mileage and ending mileage, and then the purpose of the trip. It's not a lot of people that actually, it's usually if somebody is going to a conference or something, the assessor, sometimes if he's going out looking at properties, he bills us for the mileage. Town board members can bill, the town clerk bills when she goes to functions. I bill when I go to functions. So there is not a standard form, but it's all presented to you guys for approval each, with the audit of the bills. So we could do a standard form if we wanted. We just haven't found the need for it because the format that each person does gives us the information we need. So this way people can do it digitally and not have to, enter it all in by hand. Does the board, do you want a standard form? I mean, we could do it. It hasn't been needed.
I mean, we don't have to do that right now for this. We can always review
Okay,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious.
It's like animal control, they just track their miles by day and
Right.
they give us a handwritten and we
Yes.
add them up for the month. And,
Right.
there we don't make them give us a starting and ending mileage because it's 5 miles here, it's 8 miles here, it's go to the, respond to this dog call, respond to that dog call.
Okay.
It hasn't been abused. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Employee clothing and footwear allowance. The town board authorized the town supervisor to make payment of the following 2024 clothing and footwear allowances to be paid by January 31, 2024. Upon receipt of vouchers by the employees, receipts may be submitted equaling the amount before December 1, 2024. The town board authorized the supervisor to off the authority to verify compliance. And actually, I'd like to add the supervisor and highway superintendent. Or which, let's say or, because the highway does his department. That is for 10 employees in the highway department is $500. For the laborer in buildings, which is 1 person, it's $500. For the transfer station operator is $500, and for laborers for the transfer station is 2 people, that's $500, and that is in our budget.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, do we
I have a second.
I'll second.
Yeah.
And then I just have a question, if we should add the new, even though there's no one in the position yet, the position that we're.
It doesn't exist
Oh,
yet.
that's right, it doesn't exist yet.
As soon as it exists, we'll add
we
it.
will.
We should give that.
Absolutely. It just, we can't authorize
Yeah, I
the
just-
position.
I
Yeah, it
Didn't
doesn't
think
exist
so,
yet.
But I just wanted to make sure I
Yeah.
brought it up, so you.
Yeah, we did not budget for that, I don't think. And I'll have to go back and check. We may not have budgeted that one, but I'll double check if I did have it. All in favor, as amended?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Grade and wage schedule. Pursuant to Town Law, Article 3, Section 21B, and Article 8, Section 116(1), the town board establishes the grade and wage schedule for the employment positions listed for 1 year, and that the holder of each position shall be paid at the rate specified therein for the pay period specified therein, subject to the amounts budgeted therefore, effective as of January 1, 2024. Grade 1 will be $18.50 per hour. That is our laborer at the transfer station on a 32-hour work week. Grade 2 at $21 per hour is our transfer station operator at 32 hours per week. Our Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals secretary at 35 hours per week, plus any additional meetings. Grade 3 is at $22 per hour. This is the assistant recreation director at 35 hours per week. The assessor aide at 35 hours per week. The deputy town clerk 2 at 35 hours per week. Grade 4 at $23.50 per hour is the highway secretary at 25 hours per week. The clerk to justice at 28 hours per week plus court sessions. The deputy town clerk 1 at 40 hours a week. The confidential secretary to the supervisor / bookkeeper at 40 hours a week. Grade 5 is the $24 an hour. Our 2 fire inspectors, 1 is less than 20 hours per week. The second is less than 15 hours per week. Grade 6 is at $26.50 per hour. This is the recreation director at 35 hours per week and the zoning coordinator at 37.5 hours per week. Grade 7 is the code enforcement officer at $34.25 per hour for a 28-hour work week. And actually, I maybe would like to amend that to 30, because he has been working more than 28, less than 35, and I think on average it's probably 30. Is the board okay with that change?
Yeah.
Just because we have to tell Kingston the number of hours that, and then grade 8 is a salary position, $39,000 per year for the assessor for a 20-hour work. Then, oh, I'm sorry, I missed the next page. Part-time seasonal positions, which are ungraded, are the recreation aides for after school at $15.75 per hour. The recreation aides for summer at $15.75 per hour. The recreation aides summer lead positions is $19.25 per hour. Constables probationary are at $18.50 per hour. Constables are at $19 an hour. And constable, which is will eventually be the lead constable, but for the moment is listed as constable or the chief constable, depending on which way it comes back, will be at 21 an hour.
I have an amendment.
I did a motion.
Gotta get a motion in a second.
Because we did it on the last one.
Yeah, a motion.
I like a motion.
I'll second.
Second. Okay, yeah.
I think that the recreation aid should be the same as the constable.
We had a very lengthy discussion with our HR. Those are primarily, so the recreation aides are primarily, high school students who were just working over the summer.
And what are they doing then?
They're assisting the recreation program. The constables are they're a part-time job, but they are, the recreation aides are working for a 6-week period of time. That's the extent of it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask how many hours each of these roles are.
It varies, and that's why they're all part-time. It varies on an as needed. So the summer one, the after-school ones work anywhere from 3 hours a week to 10 hours a week, depending on the people. The recreation aides in the summer work for 6 weeks at about 28, I think, hours a week on average. The summer leads are 3 people who work in the school system, or 2 of them work in the school system. 1 is not from the school system. We've had the same 3 people for the last few years. They are the main leads of the summer program, and they work approximately 5 days a week times, I think it's like 8.5 hours. The constable probationary are constables that work, that are just started, that are under 520 hours total work. When they are off probation, they get the 50-cent hour raise. And then the constable that is the administrative lead right now that we are seeking a new job title for will be at 21 an hour. So, but we did discuss this at length with the board and with our HR consultant. Does anybody, we didn't budget for it either, so we budgeted based on these.
No, I'm comfortable. I get where your thought process was that they seem kind of equal, but this is really like a entry level high school student job is the after school aides for the most part, and then the constables are trained, so I'm fine with leaving it how it is.
Yeah.
But I do think everyone deserves to be making.
Just the minimum wage is 60.
No,
Not for
minimum
the-
wage for our area just went to 15. We've always been ahead of the minimum wage. Currently, they're making 15. We gave a 5% raise to 15.75.
We're on 16. Yeah, city.
What's that?
You might be thinking- But yeah, it's not 16.
No, it's not, it's 15 here for our area. For our county, so, and we will always stay ahead. And this is also what the recreation director requested and we approved in our budget, so. We can make changes, but we just would have to find the money somewhere else. So. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Wage schedule pursuant to collective bargaining agreement with International Brotherhood of Electrical Worker, Local 363. Pursuant to, and I'm not sure why there's a 1 in there, pursuant to town law, Article 3, Section 21B, Article 8, Section 116(1), and Civil Service Law 208, Town Board establishes the hourly wage rates effective as of January 1, 2024 for Highway Department and Buildings and Grounds maintenance employees in accordance with the terms and conditions of the collective bargaining agreement negotiated between the town of Rochester and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 363, for the period January 1, 2023 through December 31, 2026. Prior to January 1, 2014, employees, working supervisor, $32.24 per hour. HMEO mechanic, $31.40 per hour. HMEO, $30.70 per hour. MEO driver, $29.40 per hour. Laborer highway, $27.40 per hour. Employees hired after January 1st, 2014. Working supervisor, $29.50 per hour. HMEO mechanic, $28.72 per hour. HMEO, $28.09 per hour. MEO driver, $26.88 per hour. Laborer highway, $25.06 per hour. Laborer buildings and grounds, $23.88 per hour.
I'll make that motion.
On a second.
I'll second.
These are all negotiated in that contract. And the reason we have 2 rates is back in 2014, when the contract was renegotiated at that time, there was a big disparity in comparison to the average for the entire county. Rochester was considerably higher. So it was negotiated by the board at that time to create a second tier. So any employees that were hired previously would continue grandfathered in at the higher rate of pay. But the other employees that have been hired since are in the, we have 2 employees that are still in the first category, and the other 9 employees are in the second category. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained.
Mike, can I ask you to pause? If you guys are here for school, you guys have already sat through a normal meeting's agenda worth of stuff, so you guys don't have to stay all night. This is our longest meeting of the year. If you guys wanna go, you
Yeah,
are.
But if you're
But
enjoying
if you're
yourself-
enjoying it, please
you're
stay.
welcome to stay,
But I just
but
wanna let you guys know
don't feel the need
more
to.
than normal
Yeah.
agenda worth of stuff, and I know
You
that
can
that's
get extra
the
credit
requirement.
Yeah.
for the longest.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, if you
it's,
guys stay the whole time, you can have Mr. McDonough call me.
We'll tell them you deserve an A.
Oh, I had this lost, you can tell her to call me. I'll call me your expert. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Stipend schedule. The town board establishes the following stipend schedule for 1 year. The holder of each position shall be paid at the rate specified therein for the pay period specified therein, subject to the amounts budgeted therefore, effective as of January 1, 2024. The dog control officer is on a salary of $22,100, and they serve as needed on call. The budget officer is $9,360. The tax collector, $5,824 per year. The registrar of vital statistics, $2,808 per year. The deputy registrar, $676 per year. The grounds manager, $5,200 per year. The deputy highway superintendent, I put an extra dollar sign in there, sorry, $2,080 per year. Court officers are paid $80 per session with a $25 per hour for hours worked beyond 4 in a session. It's very rare that they would ever work more than 4 hours in a court session. So do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second, there should be a comma, not a period for the registrar of vital statistics after the 2. Unless you only want to pay them $2.
No, thank you. Thank you for that catch.
And 4 half.
I appreciate the catch. Thank you.
And then I don't know if this is the appropriate time to do this, but I do think we need to table some of the decisions about the grounds management.
That was what we agreed and.
It
put in the
is.
budget contract.
In the budget, just in terms of, I was emailing with Mary Lou about that today and that we might wanna table. I don't know.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with tabling it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just curious though, it's no different than when it was the transfer station manager, so it's additional duties.
That's true, yes, but maybe we can, if we have time in our business meeting,
Okay,
to hear from Mary Lou about that.
okay. Do you want to hear from her now or do you want to wait?
We could. Mary Lou, were you
You're muted.
listening? Did you catch what I'm?
I did catch, but I'm not sure exactly what you wanted to do, Erin. You asked me some questions about the research I'd done several years ago regarding perhaps starting a parks department or Department of Public Works. I looked up that old research. I haven't updated to see if anything's changed in the past 3 or 4 years. Or what procedures are. So I'm not sure exactly what you want to do, so I can probably talk about it to an extent.
But this establishes a stipend for that role, but then we would be assigning our highway superintendent to those duties.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's what we were emailing about, is like, can we just assign through a resolution the highway superintendent to care for the grounds and maintenance repair and parks maintenance repair?
And I have to see if that was updated. Last
Yeah,
time,
because we had done the research previously and we were allowed. It's no different than.
now, when we done it, before that, it was, you could establish a Department of Public Works by local law, and
Right.
then you could assign him as the head of the Department of Public Works. I don't know if you can now, if it's changed that it can be done by resolution, so I'd have to update my research on that. So if you want to put this off till next week, I can have that research done for you.
The only problem is I'm gonna run into a pay period where I would be paying it. So can we approve it and we can always amend it later if we decide we shouldn't have?
I would be more comfortable with that one being taken out for Mary Lou to come back with the research for us.
Okay.
If it's one pay period behind.
Okay.
Right, and unless you're going to appoint someone else to that position.
Understood.
But I
Okay.
would
I
want to
thought
look
we
to
had done the
see,
research that we said we could do this, so, but
if you were in Suffolk County, you could.
What was that?
We already-
If you, in Suffolk County, all you need is a resolution, but they have a special legislation for that. So we just want to be sure.
Okay. So
My
we will-
recollection, Mike, in going back into the research from a few years ago, was that you couldn't do it just by resolution at that time.
Okay, so we'll remove it for now. So, somebody want to make that amendment
I'll make the motion as
to remove the grounds man?
to remove the grounds manager, to add the comma, to take away the $7 sign.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay, that the town board establishes the adopted elected officials' salary schedule as follows for 1 year, and that the holder of each position shall be paid at the rate specified therein, for the pay period specified therein, subject to the amounts budgeted therefore, effective as of January 1, 2024. Highway superintendent, $64,480. Town clerk, records management officer, $55,224. Supervisor, $53,300. Town justice times 2, $17,700 per year. Town council member times 4, $7,500 per year. Motion.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
There was hesitation there.
I just want to amend that it says the town board, not that the town board. For the opening sentence of the resolution.
Okay.
The beginning, it says that the.
Yeah, many of our resolutions say it that way. No, they all start, the recommended resolution is that.
But never mind, then carry on. We can vote.
Yeah.
Unless anyone else has something to say.
Okay.
It looks so weird.
But it's capital.
There's also a period in the and town clerk record management. The weekly has a period. So. Change it everywhere else.
Does that? Oh, in the weekly, Yep, thank you.
Oh,
Okay. So, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Sorry, 24-page resolution on holiday weekend.
All right, it's good.
that's why you need all the extra on the eaves.
Builds character. Establishment of deputy town supervisor pursuant to town law, Article 3, Section 42, that the office of deputy town supervisor shall be established by the town. Do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. I am happy to appoint Councilwoman Anawan to serve as the deputy town supervisor, if she accepts. Thank you
Accept.
very much.
You're welcome.
I also, this is a supervisory appointment by state law, pursuant to Arts and Cultural Affairs Law 57.07. Town Supervisor Baden appoints Kathleen Gunberg to serve as the town historian, to be compensated a yearly stipend rate of $600 to be paid quarterly. Do I have that motion? Oh, no,
No,
I
we
don't
don't
need a
need
motion. That's
You're
my
just
point.
making it.
Sorry, I got the roll there. And thank you, Kate, for filling that role. Authorizing the supervisor to designate a confidential secretary / bookkeeper pursuant to town law, Article 3, 2915. Town board authorizes the supervisor to designate a confidential secretary, the supervisor, bookkeeper to serve at the pleasure of the supervisor. Have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. I am very happy to appoint Stephanie Marinin to serve as the confidential secretary, the supervisor bookkeeper. She's just finished her 3rd or maybe now in her 4th week and is doing an amazing job, and we are thrilled. I also am making these following liaison appointments. There's some new ones for some of you. And Emily, we didn't talk much, so I'm going to ease you into this. Liaison to Agriculture is Council Member Anawan. Liaison to Cablevision, Nobody else but Councilmember Coleman. You have Spectrum on speed dial. Liaison to Code Enforcement is Councilmember Nowen. Liaison to the Constabulary, Councilmember Coleman. I'm gonna ask you to take that on from Councilman Paddock. Liaison to the Elder Care Program is Councilmember Smisa. Liaison to EMS and Fire Districts is Councilmember Coleman. Liaison to the Environment and ECC is Councilmember Nowen. Liaison to Historical Preservation and the HBC is Town Clerk Gunberg. Liaison to Housing is Councilmember Smisa. Liaison to Human Resources, Councilmember Nowen. Liaison to the Justice Court, Emily, we'll ask you to take that on, Councilmember Dindal. Liaison to the libraries, there's not much to do, an occasional check-in with them is Councilmember Dindal. Liaison to Parks, Councilman Coleman, I'm gonna ask you to take that on. Liaison to the Planning Board, Councilmember Nowen. Liaison to Recycling and Transfer Station, Councilmember Nowen. Liaison to Recreation, Charlotte, I'm asking you, you have a lot of experience there.
Yeah, I grew up here. I just want to ask Mary Lou for that one. I just want to know that I can.
We did check.
You,
yes.
okay, we did, even though my mother's on the
Yeah,
commission
Yes.
for,
Yes.
committee.
You're just a liaison.
Okay.
You're just,
I know she's not the chair anymore. I
Right.
knew then I would have.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure.
liaison to the website, Councilmember Nowen, and liaison to the Zoning Board of Appeals, Councilmember Coleman. So thank you all for your wonderful work. Emily, what that means is when we have the regular meetings, you would just give an update if there are any updates to give for those two departments or one department and one service that we provide. And if there's no update, there's no update to give. And we'll ease you into it, and over time, we'll move you into more roles and take some more off Aaron's shoulders.
Good.
Appointment to Highway Superintendent duties pursuant to Highway Law, Article 3, Section 31(1), and upon consent of the Highway Superintendent. Actually, we should just table this resolution.
I was just.
Yeah.
We'll table this resolution for the moment.
Agree.
Establishment of Deputy Highway Superintendent pursuant to Town Law, Article 7, 140-4, the town shall establish the office of Deputy Highway Superintendent to serve at the pleasure of the Highway Superintendent. The Deputy Highway Superintendent shall be compensated at a yearly stipend rate of $2,080 to be paid weekly. And Highway Superintendent Fry appoints Jared Gunberg to serve as the Deputy Highway Superintendent.
I'll make that motion.
It's an appointment
Oh.
by
You
Jared.
kind of read like two, the establishment of the deputy highway superintendent should be.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
I'll make that
apologize.
motion.
I skipped the motion of the first part.
Yeah.
Apologies. So yes, I do need a motion to establish the position. So
I'll make
Aaron.
Okay.
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Now, Highway Superintendent Fry appoints Jared Gunberg to serve as the Deputy Highway Superintendent. These are appointments of highway employees. This is a recommended resolution, and we are just confirming these appointments. This is pursuant to Highway Law, Article 3, Section 32(2), that the town board consent to the highway superintendent to employ such persons as may be necessary for the maintenance and repair of town highways and bridges and the removal of obstructions caused by snow, and provide for the supervision of such persons subject to the amounts and positions budgeted therefor. The working supervisor, who was pre-2014,
Are we not doing the resolution and then the appointment?
this actually is the resolution. We're giving consent to these. So he's appointed these, he's provided the names to us, and we're confirming these names. So Jared Gunberg is the working supervisor. HMEO pre-2014 is Richard Hasbrook. HME post is Alex Gente, Kevin Hoteling, Thomas Crotty, William Farrell, Leonard Crum. HMEO mechanic post 2014 is Tim Hornbeck and Griffin Kelsey. Laborer post 2014 is David Linscott, and seasonal highway MEO until March 31st, 2024, and that's because we can only appoint for 3 months at a time, is Patrick Davis. So do I have that motion?
Okay. I'll second.
However you want to write it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Designation of Registrar of Vital Statistics pursuant to Public Health Law, Section 4121 and 4123. Town Board designates the town clerk Kathleen Gunberg as Registrar of Vital Statistics to a term to run concurrent with her town clerk term of office, be compensated at a yearly stipend rate of $2,808 to be paid weekly. A deputy registrar of vital statistics shall be established and compensated at a yearly stipend rate of $676 to be paid weekly. Christina Ferrara, first deputy town clerk, is designated as the deputy.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Abstained. Establishment of deputy town clerks pursuant to Town Law Article 3, Section 3010A. The first deputy town clerk, deputy registrar, deputy tax collector, and second deputy town clerk shall be established by the town to serve at the pleasure of the town clerk and shall be authorized to fulfill all the duties of the town clerk in their absence. That motion?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
I.
Aye. Opposed? Kate, I'd like to ask you to make your appointments.
Sure. I proudly appoint Christina Ferrara, first deputy town clerk, deputy registrar, and deputy tax collector, and Courtney Coffey, second deputy town clerk.
And just to add to that, the town clerk is authorized to engage alternate deputies as needed, subject to the adopted budget. Designation of additional duties. With the consent of the town clerk, the town board designates the additional duties of code enforcement, building department clerk to the second deputy town clerk. Do I have that
I'll make
motion?
that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and we thank Courtney. She does a really great job going back and forth between the two departments. So, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Designation of handicap parking permit issuing agents pursuant to Vehicle and Traffic Law 11203A1. The town board designates the town clerk, first deputy town clerk, and second deputy town clerk as handicap parking permit issuing agents.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Appointment of town marriage officer pursuant to Domestic Relations Law, Article 311C. The town board appoints Kathleen Gunberg to serve as Town of Rochester marriage officer with no compensation by the town.
Make that motion.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? How many marriages do you do a year? Curiosity.
Between like 5 and 10.
Nice.
Pretty good. During COVID, I did a lot.
Yeah.
Because nobody else
No, you
did.
did.
We should announce them at the meeting.
Appointment of dog control officer pursuant to Agriculture and Markets Law 114. The town board appoints Jill Schufelt to the position of dog control officer to be compensated at a yearly stipend rate of $22,100 to be paid weekly plus mileage reimbursement paid monthly upon submittal of a voucher for payment.
I'll
I have
second.
a second. Discussion. We are amazed and thrilled to have Jill. She does a job that I can't imagine anybody else doing. So she does 4 other towns in addition to us. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Appointment of assistant dog control officer pursuant to New York Agricultural Markets Law 114. The town board appoints Kevin Heinman, assistant dog control officer, at a contractual rate of $19.50 per hour plus mileage reimbursement, both paid monthly upon submittal of a voucher.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
For Emily, our assistant is not an employee. We hire him contractually. He covers the weekends. He covers when Jill goes on vacation, and he sometimes covers after hours at night call. So he is a very valuable member of our team. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Employee appointments, and this is where we'll be adding one. Pursuant to Town Law Article 3, Section 21B, the town board authorizes the following appointments in accordance with the adopted grade and wage schedule, contingent on completion of any qualifications or certifications as may be required to fulfill the position. All appointments directly dealing with youth shall be contingent on completion of background checks. All appointees shall serve for a term of 1 year, subject to the pleasure of the town board or as mandated by New York State statute. Our transfer station operator position is vacant. Our transfer station laborer positions are Justin Junta and Warren Johnson. Laborer buildings is Harry Warden. The assessor is Jeremy Baraka. The assessor aide provisional is Joanne Fairber. The code enforcement officer, building inspector is Albert Davis. The zoning coordinator, Alyssa Farrell. Fire inspector part-time is William Farrell. Fire inspector part-time, Michael Bannock. The planning board, zoning board of appeals clerk, Jasmine Wilhelm. The recreation director, Ashley Sweeney. The assistant recreation director, provisional, is Bethany Denon. And we will add, and my apologies, highway secretary, it's Jessica Boughton.
I'll make that motion as amended.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Pursuant to Town Law Article 3 and upon advice and consent of Justice Laflamme, the town board hereby appoints Deborah Goodman to serve as the clerk to Justice Laflamme effective January 1, 2024, as funded for the 2024 grade and wage schedule. Justice Laflamme shall determine the duties and work schedule of the clerk to justice, subject to the adopted budget.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Appointment of clerk to Justice Alba pursuant to Town Law Article 3, Section 21B, and upon advice and consent of Justice Alba, the town board hereby appoints Leanne Warren to serve as the clerk to Justice Alba effective January 1, 2024, as funded per the 2024 grade and wage schedule. Justice Alba shall determine the duties and work schedule of the clerk to justice, subject to the adopted budget.
I'll make that motion.
Second. I'll second it for discussion.
Should we table this and talk about it or?
We can,
Executive session?
I mean, we can. That's what the board wishes. Or, I mean, we made a motion in second, so we have to vote on it unless somebody wants to make a motion to table.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table it.
Okay.
We can add an executive session.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. So on the motion to table, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay, so we'll table this. Appointment of town board members to examine the justice court docket. Pursuant to Town Law 123, the town board appoints Councilwoman Nanawan and Councilwoman Dindal to meet for the purposes of examining the civil and criminal dockets for each town justice and ensure that the fines and fees that have been collected by each justice have been turned over to the proper officials as required by law. Do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Charlotte, we know you did it last year. We appreciate it very much. I wanted to try to move Emily in to get her a little more involved.
It sounded.
And
I'll say yes.
We had fun.
Yeah, we had fun. Me and Aaron had fun.
Yeah.
you can't have 3 people do it though. You only have 2, so.
It's good company.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. I figured you'll be busy with recreation.
Yeah. It'll be playing, what, it's February? Yeah, we're gonna be playing on the Valentine's party, so.
The readoption and duties of the town constabulary. Pursuant to Town Law Article 3, Section 21B, Town Law Article 3, Section 39, and Criminal Procedure Law, Section 2.20, the Town of Rochester Town Board readopts Resolution 30 of 2019, that the Town of Rochester does hereby reaffirm the establishment and continuation of the powers and duties of the Town Constable Peace Officer as derived from 2 sources, Town Law Section 39 and Criminal Procedure Law Section 2.20 of the State of New York, and that upon specific authorization provided to the constabulary in writing by the town supervisor, or town board resolution for the duties listed in Resolution 30 of 2019. Such written authorization shall include specific duties, services, or patrols, dates, and timeframes.
Make that motion.
Have a second.
I'll second.
Discussion. I will get you guys copies of that resolution if you want. It
You
outlines.
sent it to us.
I
Yeah.
did send it to you? Okay.
I'm
Couldn't remember if I did.
I have
Oh,
it.
you have it. It should have been.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain. You're opposed?
Let's do it.
Okay. Appointment of constables. I'd like to table this until we get answers from the Ulster County personnel, because they did give the test. Only one officer that is currently with us scored on the level of being appointed, and they told me to appoint him provisionally. However, in reviewing the qualifications that DCJS has, he doesn't satisfy those qualifications because he hasn't recertified. So I need clarification. So I'd like to make it, we'll table this motion, but I'd like to just make a motion that the constables continue as appointed in 2023 until further determination by the Ulster County Personnel Office. That way they can, because they're not eligible to work right now, and we still need court officers. And
No one is eligible to work.
well, no, because we ended their term on December 31st, 2023 by the resolution at last year's organizational meeting. So we have to appoint somebody to work this year, and they already are working. The problem has been in this test that the county told us everybody had to take. The county has not communicated very well what the next steps are with us. I'm getting very cryptic emails from them, and it's in conflict with DCJS because they told me to appoint that one person, and then
And that person doesn't have.
that person
their-
doesn't have the required DCJS training,
Right.
so I can't appoint that person. But, so I'm gonna ask, just until we can resolve it, that we just hold them all over from 2023 so they can continue to work as they have been.
Sorry, only one of these people took the test.
Now, everybody took the test, so under
They
civil
all
service, the top 3 scores have to be offered first. 16 people took the test. The top 3 scores entail 5 people because it's the actual score, not the number of people. One of our current constables got the top score. A second one that we hired in October that the Office of Personnel did not have listed yet because he took the test in July. We hired him provisionally. The provisional means that they are hired on a competitive position because the county and the state have determined that our constable positions are now competitive, meaning they're subject to a testing. There's the civil service, it's a very complicated system. There's competitive positions, there's non-competitive positions. Previously, our constables were non-competitive. The state changed a ruling back about 4 years ago and made them all competitive. They all could serve provisionally until the test was offered. It was offered in July. They all took the test, but not all of them scored high enough to be in the top 5. So the county then has to query the other people to see if they accept the job or not. So right now, the only one we could appoint tonight non-provisionally is the one that doesn't have the word provisional. The others could be appointed provisionally, knowing that they may be replaced by somebody if they accept it. So
Wait, so all the duties we just voted to, it's still on these people? Might go to somebody who didn't pass this test?
no, they passed the test. They all passed the
Or they
test.
didn't score
They
sufficiently?
didn't score in the top
No,
5.
they didn't score in the top 5, so basically we have to offer the job to the people they tell us. The only one that we could do that with is that
this.
one,
Okay.
who doesn't meet the.
He doesn't meet
DCJS
the
requirements.
DCJS because it's
Everyone else is
it's very
simply-
complicated because corrections officers used to be, corrections officers trainings used to be accepted by DCJS. In the last 2 years, they have made a ruling that court officers are a different training than corrections officers. So now the corrections officers have to retrain in order to be certified.
So the others all passed the test, but they didn't score in that top 3 score. So we have to wait for
We have to
Ulster
wait
County
until-
to tell us what order we have to offer it.
We
So
have
they
to-
would still be provisional appointments, because if Ulster County told us that we couldn't, that we would have to offer them in a different order, we would let those people go. So that's why it's provisional.
So the provisional, it means they're appointed provisionally until Ulster County tells us. Ulster County, the first person on the score can be offered the test. The second person is one of our constables that we hired in October provisionally after he took the test. I'm assuming he's going to accept it. So he would then, the provisional would go away once Ulster County tells us we can hire him. They would then go to the next 3 that are on the list. I've only been given the top 5 names because that's only the top 3 scores. Normally, the town does the canvassing. For some reason, in this process, the county has decided that they're doing the canvassing. I'm very confused, and they're not communicating well, except sending occasional emails. So that's why I'd like to just,
By canvassing, you mean they're offering the position?
they're the ones communicating with the constables, potential constables, not us. Normally, we are given the list and said, please offer this job to this person in writing. If they accept, we print out the acceptance and we send it to the county and they say, yes, that person. We then appoint the person, but this time the county seems to be doing the canvassing and then telling us you can appoint this position.
Is that a new policy or?
I don't know. There's a new director, so it could be a new policy. As I said, there's not been a lot of communication and I'm not getting return phone calls or emails. I just got the list in December 20th, I think, of the 5 names. And then I was told, I know the canvassing was sent out to the top 5 and they had until January 3rd to reply. But I haven't heard, that was yesterday, I haven't heard anything back from county as to if any of them. And then what would happen is if they accept, we would appoint that person with the provisional gone. But in the meantime, we could just adopt this list, which is the current list. But what I would rather do is just say we're going to hold over the current constables as appointed in 2023, which is the same thing with the exception of the provisional, non-provisional. Because I don't want to appoint that without provisional because the training hasn't been met.
Right.
And I don't know, the county is just looking at from the job description. They're not looking at from the other agencies' requirements. And I have to speak with them to find out what that means. So we could,
I second your motion to take.
okay.
And we can vote on.
So let's vote on the motion to table this resolution first. And thank you on that. So all in favor to table this resolution? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Now I'd like to offer a new resolution that the Town of Rochester Town Board holds over appointments for constables effective January 1, 2024 from the current appointed constables from 2020.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Is there, by hold over though,
When the county tells us they can't be there anymore, then they're either gone or the county tells us we can take the provisional away and then we appoint them one at a time to replace.
But how you just worded that motion, they're not provisional, because last year they weren't.
No, they were.
Were they?
They've been provisional ever since
I
the
just don't
county.
remember that.
No, they've all been provisional ever since. What was there was the probationary or not probationary. And that's our own, that they're on probation for the first 500 because they don't work a normal work week. Normally somebody's on probation for 6 months, but some of these constables will only work 5 or 6 hours a month. would only work 30 hours in 6 months, so we have a probation of 520 hours. Once they reach the 520 hours, we move them to off probation with a 50-cent pay increase. So, but that's our own self-designated part of the job title. Yeah,
Can I just ask though, but we have effective dates, but we don't have termination dates, so wouldn't that? have
no,
to-
it says for 1 year, for a term of 1 year, subject. You see in the current resolution that we tabled, all appointees shall serve
The other
for a
ones
term
don't
of
say
1
that.
year. No, they all do.
Yeah, they all.
All our appointments are for the calendar year, January 1 through December 31. We have to reappoint everybody effective January 1 the next year. The only people that are held over are elected officials. Everybody else is fired on December 31, rehired on December. For lack of a more delicate.
Like, I'm not seeing that on the highway appointments, clerks.
Because those are appointed by the highway superintendent and by the town clerk. So they're an appointment for a 1 year term.
Okay, so
It's the QQ is the one.
So
I'm just trying to figure out for the other motion that we tabled. I knew this.
the other motion that we tabled was,
FS. SS, the clerk of justice.
yeah,
We tabled.
yep.
Assuming
So
if we don't come to resolution on that, what's the policy for?
I don't know, and because we've discussed, we're gonna talk about an executive session, we probably shouldn't talk about it in public, so. We tabled that, we've moved on from it, so,
Okay.
but the terms of all these appointments is for 1 year. It may not be in the exact resolution, but it is under state law, it is a 1 year appointment. On December 31, other than elected officials, and potentially the assessor, who we signed a 7-year contract with, is essentially replaceable. Now, there are some people who have protections. The highway workers all have protections under the union bargaining agreement. Other people have protections under the civil service laws, depending on their position.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with,
I'm just trying to explain it because you were asking about the 1 year.
so. Okay.
Uh,
And 1 second, Kate. I did.
Yeah, Michael made it, you seconded. So to appoint effective January 1, and I'm not putting a time frame on it because they will all be replaced at some point when the county tells us this person, appoint this person. But because the one that they did tell us to appoint doesn't meet the state criteria, I'm not comfortable appointing that person.
Yeah. And there are court officers, so
And yeah,
if we don't,
well, they worked last night already, and if we go back, reappoint them, then we can't pay them for their work last night. So.
What happens if we don't appoint them? The court closes? Yeah, the.
Yeah, court closes,
They won't.
court closes, and we're required to have the court up by state law. So we're in a bit of a
the
quandary.
justices won't.
Justices will not hold court without court officers, and nor should they. So we have to, this seems the easiest way to deal with it, and I apologize, the test was given in July, and they didn't move forward with anything from the county until recently, so. It takes 90 days for the test to be scored for some reason. Okay, so we have the replacement motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. I feel like we should do WW though. The town board assigns additional duties to the following constables, and they shall be compensated for their time worked as budgeted therefore. Administrative duties of the constabulary are assigned to Constable Richard Miller. Scheduling duties of the constabulary are assigned to Constable Jose Velasco. Do I have that
I'll make that
motion?
motion.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Should we just Is there, I can't remember, is there a reason why we're not assigning the scheduling duties to?
because we haven't created the position. So I was leaving it as is for the moment until the position is created.
The scheduling duties to who, what position?
So
To the same person that
Right.
the administrator.
this is how it's been happening
Yeah.
for the last several years. We have proposed a new job description
Yeah,
to the county.
Yeah.
We haven't, the county has not formed it yet. So until that job description is changed, this is the same as it's been for the last 4 years.
yes, I know, I just heard that. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I'm leaving it alone until the
Okay.
job's created.
Let's leave it alone.
When the job is created, that will become part of the new position.
Okay.
And it will change. Okay.
Need a motion in a second.
Motion
right?
second. All in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Appointment of recreation aides pursuant to Town Law Article 3, Section 21B, that the town board authorizes the recreation director to make appointments from time to time upon written notification to the town supervisor in accordance with the adopted grade and wage schedule, contingent on completion of any qualifications or certifications as may be required to fulfill the position. All appointments dealing with youth shall be contingent on completion of background checks. All appointees shall serve subject to the pleasure of the town board or as mandated by New York State statute. We assign up to 8 recreation aides after school, not to exceed a total of 2,520 hours per year. Recreation aides for the summer are 4, not to exceed 684 total hours per year. Counselors, summer, and actually that should say recreation aides, summer, because the position, there is no position counselor. A total of 6, not to exceed 888 total hours per year. Do I have that motion
I'll
as
make that
amended?
motion.
I'll second,
Okay.
as amended.
Any discussion? And this just gives Ashley the power to assign. She makes the recommendation to us of who to hire and we approve it. This way, she manages the staff, not me, because she's there on a day-to-day basis. All in favor?
all right.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Appointment of Emergency Management Coordinator. Town Board appoints Gerald Fernino to serve as Emergency Management Coordinator with no compensation.
I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. The Town Board Website Coordinator. The Town Board appoints Richard Miller to serve as Town Website Coordinator with no compensation.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, and this will be obviously until we get our new website up and running, at which time we'll discuss with him if he wishes to continue. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. The town board designates Flynn O'Connor, voting member. This is for the O&W Trail Coalition representative. The Flynn O'Connor, voting member, and Supervisor Baden, alternate voting member. Second, motion?
I'll make that motion.
I have a second. I was, but Flynn has been, the meetings are usually at 3 in the afternoon and I can't always make them, and Flynn makes most of them, so I'd rather, we flip-flopped our positions. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain.
Is this where we should add the town photographer?
Why don't we just do it on the end to make it easier for Kate?
Okay.
I don't know if you numbered them already. Oh, you didn't? So in that case, we can add this in then. So Aaron, I'm gonna let you make the motion
Okay.
because you wrote it out.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that the town board appoints Manuela
Nicolescu.
Milgilescu as the town photographer with no compensation.
Second.
And the header for that would be appointment of town photographer. And I just want to add in the discussion that I think this is a great thing. She has done it for us for a number of years. Is at every event, takes amazing pictures, gets them in the Bluestone Press.
Manuela is our town
She
photographer.
is our,
She's
And our-
whether we appoint her or not, she is, and
Yes.
I think I saw
Yeah.
her on voicemail taking pictures of the eagle.
Yes, and our new website is all of her photos.
So,
And I thank the two of you for making this recommendation. I think it's a great thing. So, any further discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Contractual cleaning services. The town board retains the services of Sheila Brown to perform cleaning service as an independent, that should be as an independent contractor, or no, at an independent contractor rate of $19 per hour, subject to audit of a monthly voucher. All supplies and materials are to be ordered and paid through the supervisor's office.
I'll make
Good
that
night.
motion.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sheila does an amazing job, and that is an increase each year. We've increased it. Readoption of the procurement policy. Oh, I knew I forgot to print something out. I emailed you guys the changes, though. Do you have them handy? If not, we can table it and take it up at the next meeting.
I'm gonna put the table it because I didn't get a chance to look
Okay.
whatsoever at
Okay.
that.
I'd like to change the numbers, but we'll table this resolution for now, and we'll bring it up next week. And if you could take a look at the changes, I changed some of the dollar amounts, raised them a little bit. We'll table that for now. Readoption of the use of professionals policy. There are no changes on any of these others. Pursuant to general municipal law, Article 5A 104B, that the procurement policy, of the town shall be amended and presented, subject always to future revision by the town.
That's the one we're tabling. We should.
Oh, I'm sorry, I read the wrong one. Sorry, my apologies. We're tabling that one. That the use of professionals policy of the town shall be readopted as currently exists, adopted with resolution 276 of 2019, subject always to future revision by the town.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. A readoption of the policy for employee reporting of buildings and grounds repairs and maintenance concerns. That the policy for employee reporting of buildings and grounds repairs and maintenance concerns of the town shall be readopted as currently exists, adopted with resolution 310 of 2023, subject always to future revision by the town.
Make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Readoption of the personnel complaint policy, that the personnel complaint policy of the town shall be readopted as currently exists, adopted with resolution 200, 2019, subject always to future revision by the town board.
Make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Excuse me. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Readoption of freedom of information policy. Freedom of information policy of the town shall be readopted as currently exists, adopted with resolution 225 of 2023, subject always to future revisions by the town board.
Make that motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Readoption of the Rochester Plan for Operations in the event of a declared public health emergency involving a communicable disease. That the town of Rochester Plan for Operations in the event of a declared public health emergency involving a communicable disease shall be readopted as currently exists, adopted with resolution 131 of 2021, subject always to future revision by the town board.
I'll make that motion.
Second. This is now mandated by New York State that we have this, and we've had it ever since the pandemic. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Membership in state and county organizations. Dave, you can help me if I forgot any, please. Pursuant to town law, Article 8, Section 11610, that the town authorizes payment by the supervisor of membership dues to the following organizations as budgeted: New York State Assessors Association, New York State Association of Towns, New York State Association of Town Superintendents of Highways, New York State Planning Federation, New York State Town Clerks Association, New York State Court Clerks Association, Ulster County Association of Town Supervisors and Mayors, Ulster County Assessors Association, Sangam Mountain Scenic Byway, Catskill Watershed Corporation, the O&W Trail Coalition of Municipalities, and the Old Catch-all other municipal organizations as determined by the supervisor as necessary.
Yes, Ulster County Town Clerk Tax Collector Association.
Okay, we will add that. Thank you.
It's important.
It's very important. Ulster County,
Town Clerk Tax Collector Association.
I'll make that motion as amended.
I'll second.
okay. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Delegates to the New York Association of Towns Annual Meeting. Pursuant to Town Law, Article 8, 11610, that the town's delegate to the annual meeting of the New York State Association of Towns shall be the supervisor, and the alternate delegate shall be the town clerk. The following shall also be authorized to attend, and this is from state law: 2 council persons, 2 town justices, 1 zoning board of appeals member, and 1 planning board member, or 2 members from either board. Attendees shall be entitled to reimbursement of reasonable, documented, necessary, and ordinary expenses up to the amount budgeted therefor. Approval from the supervisor prior to registration is required if the attendee is requesting reimbursement. So do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
This is the annual February. We have not gone recently because it's in New York City and the cost of housing is skyrocketed. Sometimes people have commuted back and forth. The last time I went, I was planning board chair and I paid for my own housing and just billed back for the conference and the train ticket.
Do you know when it is? Like,
It's always the President's Day weekend.
Oh,
It's the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's over that President's Day
and it's
weekend
like,
period.
it's like, work hours. It's like during the day.
It's during daytime. It is daytime, yeah. We have not sent, some towns bring their entire contingent by bus. But they end up budgeting a significant amount of money. No, they usually like charter a bus.
Yeah.
We have not budgeted,
Oh, but-
yeah, we have not budgeted for people to attend this the last few years because it's just $400 a night for hotels and things. It's hard to justify that. Stay up. So.
Walk around Central Park all night.
I can see it.
Anyway, we do give people the ability to go within the budget. If people want to go, we'll pay for the conference, just not for the house. So do I have a motion in a second. Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. It is a good training. I mean, you walk out with a lot of training. Policy for attendance at trainings, conferences, and meetings pursuant to General Municipal Law, Article 577B. Town board authorizes town elected and appointed officials and town employees to attend trainings, conferences, and informational meetings with prior approval from their department head, supervisor, or resolution of the town board. Contingent on verification, related costs are budgeted therefor. Registration fees and reasonable, documented, necessary, and ordinary travel expenses shall be reimbursed, subject to town board audit. Approval from the supervisor prior to registration is required if the attendee is requesting reimbursement.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? This is for any other trainings and conferences. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. The next, I've left a blank, and maybe, Aaron, I don't know if you have a name. I don't have a name.
You know, I
here, sir.
didn't, we talked today, but I didn't ask.
Yeah, we can leave it blank for the
Okay.
moment. So pursuant to town law, Article 16-271, Town of Rochester Code 140, Article 10, that the town board appoints Mark Grasso chair, and we will leave vacant the vice chair of the planning board.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, yeah, because our vice chair is no longer with, and we haven't replaced him previously, so he's no longer with the board. He
Right.
resigned, so.
No,
No longer with the board.
Yeah.
Apologies, the way I said that. It was no longer with the board.
No.
So, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Remember, he's on the agenda.
I Like everybody, he's fine.
Yes, I'm sorry, it's been a long week. Appointment of zoning board of appeals chair pursuant to town law, article 16, section 267, town of Rochester code 140, article 9, that the town board appoints Sam Zarowski chair and Clayton Haugen vice chair of the zoning board of appeals. You gonna recuse or just abstain?
I'm gonna ask you.
I'll make that motion.
So I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Aaron
I'll
is
abstain.
abstaining. Thank you. Appointment of Environmental Conservation Commission Chair pursuant to General Municipal Law, Article 12, Section F 239X, Town of Rochester Code 14, that the town board appoints John Messersmith Chair and Judith Karpova Vice Chair of the Environmental Conservation Commission.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Appointment of Historic Preservation Commission Chair pursuant to Town of Rochester Town Code 22. Town Board appoints Deborah Medenbach Chair and Wilton Duckworth Vice Chair of the Historic Preservation Commission.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. The appointment of Youth and Senior Recreation Commission Chair pursuant to Town Board Local Law 1 of 2022, that the Town Board appoints Deborah Martin Chair and Pam Stocking Vice Chair of the Youth and Senior Recreation Commission.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Appointment of Board of Ethics Chair pursuant to Town of Rochester Town Code Section 17, that the Town Board appoints Adam Paddock Chair.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Appointment of Trails Committee Chair pursuant to Town Board Resolution 147 of 2018. The Town Board appoints Flynn O'Connor Chair of the Trails Committee.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. And these are the members that are currently serving that have asked for reappointment. So pursuant to General Municipal Law, Article 12, F 239X, the Town of Rochester Code 14, that the town board reappoints Judith Karpova and Todd Anderson to a term ending December 31, 2026.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? There are still 4 vacancies for the ECC after this appointment. So all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Reappointment of Historic Preservation Commission member pursuant to Town of Rochester Town Code 22, that the town board reappoints Deborah Medenbach, Wilton Duckworth, Suzanne Miedema, Ryan Fitzgerald, Alice Cross, Gloria Mirsky, and Joanne Mariner for a term ending December 31, 2026.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second.
A lot of people, there was one member I did not hear back from, so they are not included on the list. I'll follow back up with them and see if they want reappointment. There are still a number of openings as well. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay. Pursuant to Town Board Local Law 1 of 2022, that the town board reappoints Manuel Miulescu to a term ending December 31, 2030.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Just doing the math to make sure that was the right date. It
Can't
is.
believe we're like that.
7 years. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. We actually have a full recreation commission. There's no openings. It's exciting. Appointment of ethics board member pursuant to Town of Rochester Town Code Section 17, that the town board appoints council member Charlotte Smeethseth, as the elected or appointed officer or employee of the town for a term ending December 31, 2027.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? We have to have a town elected or appointed officer on the ethics board by state law, and Adam was our previous. As he's no longer council member, he does not qualify, and council. No, he's still on it, but he's just no longer he's no longer our appointed member from our board or from the town. So thank you, Charlotte, for offering to serve. All in favor? Aye. Opposed and abstained? You're abstaining. Thank you. There are still one or two openings for that position. I think it's one.
I think it's
There's
one.
One and one alternate.
Yes.
at this board. Appointment of Rochester Ambulance District Budget Advisory Committee members. Pursuant to Town of Rochester Local Law 10 of 2022, that the Town of Rochester appoints B. Haugen Depew and Joe Vitti for a term ending December 31, 2026.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
There is one vacancy on that board for a term ending in 2026. So, but we continue with the same members as we have currently. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Appointment of the High Falls Ambulance District Budget Advisory Committee members pursuant to Town of Rochester Local Law 10 of 2022. Actually, I think that should be Town of Rochester Local Law 11. One was 10 and one was 11, and my apologies. I will have to confirm, Kate,
Yes.
which is which. The town board appoints B. Haugen Depew and Charles Nurko, no I on the end, for a term ending December 31, 2026.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Discussion? And again, we have we have one open position on that board as well. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Authorization of board and commission stipends, and we have made some changes as budgeted for this. So the town board authorizes payment of the following 2024 stipends upon audit of vouchers as budgeted to be paid quarterly. Board of Assessment review stipend shall be paid in full upon audit of vouchers the month after completion of services. For the ZBA, we were increasing the chairs to $150 per quarter. It currently is $120 per quarter. And at $12.50 per training hour, maximum of 4 per year. For the members, we are increasing from $30 to $35 per meeting, with a $12.50 per training hour, maximum 4 per year. Planning board chair, we are increasing to $225 from the current $180 a quarter, and $12.50 an hour training credit for maximum 4 per year. The members are paid at $35 per meeting. That's up from $30 at $12.50 per training hour, maximum 4 per year. The Board of Assessment review members are paid a $300 stipend payable upon completion of grievance day report. And all those changes were included in our budget.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. I'll make this resolution, but I think there's one we have to remove because I didn't confirm it yet. Town board establishes the hours of operation for town offices to be open to the public as presented. All town offices will close on all officially designated town holidays. Hours of operation may be altered or changed at any time at the direction of the town supervisor or by resolution of the town board due to weather or emergency circumstances. The assessor would be Monday through Friday as per the assessor's weekly schedule. They are closed Saturday and Sunday. The town clerk, and actually the assessor, we can say 8 to 12 and 1 to 4 because the assessor aide is there. So let's say 8 a.m. to 12 noon, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., or as per the assessor weekly schedule, because that is the norm. The town clerk, Monday through Friday, 8 to 12 and 1 to 4. The tax collector, Monday through Friday, 8 to 12, 1 to 4. The supervisor, Monday through Friday, 8 to 12, 1 to 4. The building department, Monday through Friday, 8 to 12, 1 to 4. Code enforcement, Monday through Friday, 8 to 12, 1 to 4. Planning and zoning, Monday through Friday, 8 to 12, 1 to 4. Recreation, Monday through Friday. Are they still coming in at 9? They're coming at 8? Okay, I thought they were. It was a bus issue I remembered earlier, so. 8 to 12, 1 to 4. Highway office, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 12 noon, 12:30 p.m. till 2:30 p.m. Justice court is the one I would like to remove because I have not confirmed with the justices their hours, and I know we had questions about lunch breaks. Transfer station will be Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 7:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. The last load accepted at 3:45 p.m. and they are closed Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. So somebody make that motion as amended.
I'll make the motion as amended.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained.
I did check the Health Falls Ambulance District, and that is 11.
That is 11. Thank you. It's okay if you can make that correction. Appreciate it. 2024 Recreation Department fees, and I've confirmed that this is the fee schedule that they presented. Upon advisement, the Recreation Director of the Town Board establishes the 2024 fee schedule effective January 1, 2024 as presented. The summer program is open to residents only at $125 per week per participant. After school, October through May, we charge $80 per month per participant. September and June, which are half months, we charge $40 per month per participant. For basketball program, the clinic, we charge $60 per participant. The league, we charge $80 per participant. Line dancing, exercise classes, and yoga classes are free. Specialty classes, which is the painting, the wreath making, and many others are free. Do I have that
I'll make that
motion?
motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. The next in the building code, there are some recommended changes. And Aaron, I don't know if you have the existing, if anybody has questions of the change.
Oh, I should have that.
So the bold ones in the fee schedule side are the ones that are proposed to change. So the municipal searches are proposed to increase to $150. I think they're currently $125.
Yeah.
Okay. The expedited search proposing to be $300. It's currently $250. The reissued municipal search due to a violation or expired permit is a $50 surcharge in addition to the fee. The public safety inspection is, I'm not going to read through the whole section, but that mirrors and it was set by our attorney as to what is considered public safety inspections. And the fee schedule is remains the same. I'm not going to read through all those, but that remains the same. We will have to make an amendment on the next one. The short-term rentals application inspection and renewal for a 2-year permit is proposed to increase. What did they propose?
They proposed 400.
It's currently 200, and they propose to go to 400. Now, I separated non-owner occupied and owner occupied and then realized the error of my ways, and that is not legal. We can't charge different prices for different situations. If a permit is a permit. We will strike out, it's just going to be at $400 per year as proposed.
They'll just be one.
We're
permit.
striking the next 3 lines from the resolution. The short-term rental per dwelling annual inspection is currently $100. It's proposed to increase to $200. What this would mean is the annual inspection is included in the 2-year permit. So the first year of the permit is $400 for both. The second year, where you're just doing the inspection, is $200. So it's instead of $300 every 2 years, it's now going to be $600 every 2 years.
Yep.
The telecommunications towers annual yearly inspection is $200. The large-scale solar yearly inspection is $200. The restitution surcharges are proposed to remain the same. The home occupation fees are proposed to remain the same. The business licenses that are required for telecommunications, the registration fee, and the solar remain the same. They are proposing an electrical system upgrade to go to $100. It's currently $75. The removal of abandonment of an underground oil tank is remaining the same. Demolition permits remain the same. Fireworks permits remain the same. They are proposing an increase of building and alteration permits. New residential commercial would increase to $500 plus $20 a square foot, and it's currently 15 cents a square foot, but I don't remember the original 400 plus. Then the residential commercial additions are proposed to change to $275 plus 20 cents a square foot. It's also currently 15 cents a square foot and $250. The residential alterations, I think, are at 200 currently, proposed to go to 225 and 20 cents a square foot. The siting of a manufactured home would remain the same. Garages are proposed to increase to $275. I guess that's $250 currently.
Yeah.
Okay, and to 20 cents a square foot instead of 15. Ag barns with proof of a certified ag exemption. That's an ag barn that does not have public access is $100. An open deck porch is $125 plus 20 cents a square foot. And is it currently 100?
Which one?
The open deck porch.
Yeah, 100.
Okay, and the covered deck porch is proposed to go to 175. I'm sure it's currently 150 based on the pattern.
Yes.
Sheds, they're proposing that we lump them all together, and under 200 square feet, it would be $150. Over, they said over 200, but we have to have a break-even point. So over 201 square feet would be $200. And the renewal of building permits, currently it's 50% of the original permit cost. They're proposing it be the original permit cost if it has to be renewed.
Right, with the under and over, you're skipping if it's exactly 200.
Oh, yes, you're right. So we should say 200 square feet or less for the, instead of under.
Oh, yeah. The old schedule didn't say that, but.
No, it didn't, but it was broken up in a different, very different designation. So,
And shouldn't it say over 200 feet?
Yeah. Over
Yes,
200.
it should say over 200. Yes, because if the math is 200.5, then you're right. We have a hole. So, correct. The zoning permit, they are proposing it rise from $50 to $75. It's been 50 for decades. The miscellaneous permit, which is small scale solar roofs, generators, they're proposing $75 for the first $1,000 of. This is the cost of the project, and $15 for every 1,000 thereafter. It's, what is it currently, 50 and 10?
Sorry, but
It's okay.
which ones again?
The miscellaneous permit, $25.90.
Yeah, 50.
50 for the first 1,000 and
And
10
15.
for, and 15.
They're left that.
They left that the same, but they're just changing the first 1,000 up from $50 to $75. The fence permit, they're increasing to $100. It's probably $75 currently.
Yes.
Okay.
Set 50 for fence signs located on structure 75. Yeah, they're doubling the fence.
Right. Oh, so it's currently 50 and they're going to, okay. The rest of those permits remain the same. So that is the changes. So I do have a motion for discussion. And then we can discuss the changes.
I make the motion.
Do we have a second? Anybody have any concerns on the changes? I think they're all reasonable. I don't think any are out of line.
I mean, we're obviously
taking a very strong position on inspections for short-term rentals. I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but it's odd to me that short-term rentals are as expensive as they are. I wonder if we should move up telecommunication, large-scale solar. I imagine those are,
Yeah, those are in every 3 years and it's,
I mean, I think we can move it up to
Yeah.
match it. It's a pretty big ask.
yeah.
For $200, you're inspecting the entire solar project.
Just
It-
remember that with fees, they're supposed to reflect the actual cost of giving the permits, doing the inspection. So I would guess that is how the building department figured this out.
Yeah,
Well, they haven't had.
well, the short-term rentals have been, have taken a lot of hours of work in, because the, sending out notices for the permits, coordinating, all the inspections, there's a lot of time spent by the staff, whereas the large-scale solar and the, telecommunications know that every 3 years, it's one phone call or one email, come inspect, they go and inspect, and it's probably an hour's worth of work. Whereas the others have a lot more day-to-day communication back and forth. There's also a considerable more larger number. There's 180 some not solar, excuse me, short-term rental permits, and there's 2 large-scale solar permits and 3 telecommunications towers permits.
But it is per permit.
It is per permit.
So you're
Correct.
saying $300 a year for that, but it's $200 for every 3 years for a solar inspection?
Right, because they're not doing the number of hours spent by the staff during the course of the year. For 2 years, there's nothing. And then every 3rd year, there's one email to say, or one phone call to say, or one letter to say, you have to schedule your permit inspection. The inspection is scheduled. And, you know, with short-term rentals, there's potential of numerous inspections going back again and again and again. We actually, in the code, if we do the re-inspection for free, if we go there and there's a violation, we'll go back the second time at no additional charge. If we have to go back the 3rd time, then there's an additional charge. But my point is that it involves more day-to-day work than the other 2 classes. The other 2 classes are a once every 3 year situation.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not persuaded. I mean, dormitories are $300. We're saying, if we want to say short-term rentals are $300, I'd rather look at something like bed tax or something. I mean, we don't want to disincentivize people and try to get them to skirt the system, which I think if you send $300 a month. I mean, I don't know. That seems kind of out of whack.
Well, how do other board members feel? I mean, I think we can justify the cost because we are not, the current charges are not, they're not covering the amount of hours spent by the clerks. I'll be honest.
Okay.
The amount of hours spent, the postage, the time spent. Since we instituted that law, a large amount of their hours every week are now involved in short-term rentals. And that's my thought. As Mary Lou said, you can only reflect the cost of what it takes for the permit to be given. And that's my point is, it's one letter that maybe takes, and it's probably a form letter that's already been created, that some new dates get put in to be sent to the solar, and every 3 years to say, you need to schedule your inspection, and then scheduling the inspection, and the officer goes out there for an hour.
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion? What if we went to, instead of 400 and 200, we went to 300 and 150? We pretty much made it so that there's no new non-owner occupieds are available and are able to be processed next year. So they're only gonna be dealing with that list of 180 and then whatever owner occupied are coming in, so it's not gonna be
Well, we
so
did say
large.
that any existing who reapplied could be above that 180 for non-owner occupied, so.
If they did it if they
Right.
reapplied before the 31st.
Right.
So I'm saying, that's what I mean, like, it would only be new owner occupied, it's not gonna be
Understood.
as potentially large of a workload this next year because of how we set the cap, so I do agree that they need to be increased, but maybe take a smaller step this first year and we can see where it's at for next year. Is my thought process behind it.
The ones that may have applied by the 31st, though, if they've applied, they likely haven't gotten their inspections and stuff yet, because as long as they've submitted an application properly before the 31st, they're still catching up on the inspections and stuff. They haven't had, they're gonna happen over the next several months. So,
I don't think that this amount is unwarranted. The way I look at it is that there's over 180 in town. If they only talk to one a day, that's half the year that they spend on short-term rental.
Right.
The short-term rental, if
Exactly.
they only talk with one owner a day throughout the year. Of each short-term rental, so I don't think that these are unjust. They're spending half the year probably working with dealing with short-term rentals along with other things, but. Up to you guys.
I mean, I
put that as an
if
alternative.
we wanna do that for the moment, remember, we can change them at any time. And what I could do is I could go back and ask them to start tracking the hours that they work per application approximately and get a better handle on it.
Or even how many they get a week. Even if they don't wanna track hours, cause that's hard at times if they're doing multiple.
Well, we kind of need to track hours because what Mary Lou say, it's an individual permit, so we can only tie it to what it costs for that individual permit. Now, it's an average over 180 permits, but
I'm fine with whatever you wanna set the fees at. To me, it jumps out as like, this is skewed compared to other things. If we think it's justified, then let's leave it where it's at.
Did they
I-
calculate the 400 in the revenue line? Because that might lower the revenue line.
no, we didn't. This came after the
Oh, okay.
budget, so it actually, their revenue lines.
Gotcha.
We estimated based on, because we didn't know the numbers, because we did the budget in September, so we didn't know the numbers. And we can always change it later, although changing it in mid-year probably is not a great idea because somebody who got their permit in June and then somebody who gets a permit in July. But we can certainly track, we can go partially and increase it, like you said, Charlotte, for now. And then
Yeah,
look at it for next
we get a
year.
lot of complaints, we can always go lower at any point this year too, if there's a.
We are,
office
I
that's
will
flooded.
tell you, we are considerably lower than many other municipalities, and even at these new rates, we're still, but
Yeah, that's fine.
Is
I
everyone
mean,
okay with leaving it then, and then we'll
I'm fine with it.
adjust it if we need to after.
I'm fine leaving it as proposed. The one that I don't like is the renewal of building permits. Cause I feel like, I'm not sure why that should be the original permit cost.
So the renewal of building permits are good for 2 years. And oftentimes, if people who pull a building permit and by their own choice, just stop working. Or, the goal is to, in 2 years, you should be able to complete it when you pull a building permit. So I'm okay with it, because usually it's the owner's choice. And anybody can submit a relief request to the town board for a specific situation, and we can consider that one situation if there was an extraneous circumstance kind of thing. But I tend to find that letting somebody hold it open for more than 2 years, I think kind of defeats the,
Well, it
I
used
also
to
think it
be-
leads to a health and safety issue.
there was a cost for that, but it's doubling
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
That, I'm just questioning.
I think it's valid because I think
Renewal of building permit, so they expire after 2 years. It used to be half the cost of the
for renewal.
permit for renewal. Now it's the original cost. If you're paid $800, the first time you'll pay $800 again to renew.
Well, and when it's renewed, though, the code enforcement officer has to go back out and re-inspect and determine where it is at that point. And I think if you haven't completed a building permit in 2 years.
It's possible it could be more work on the code enforcement office to renew, is what you're saying.
Agreed. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think if you haven't completed it in 2 years and you have a specific reason why you haven't, you can always appeal to us to refund.
Yeah, I was gonna, my only review thing with this is that if something happens again, like a pandemic, my house took 4 years to build because of that.
We can, if
So
that
there
happens, we
should
can
be-
waive,
That I had to renew my building permit in the middle of, cause I couldn't get supplies to finish my construction, so.
but we can
I think if
waive the
there's
whole law
a
at that point.
global extreme, like that no one should have to come for a waiver or something like that.
No,
happens
no,
again. It
if
should
that
be
happens,
known that
we
they
can-
carry over in the middle. If, hopefully we don't have another global pandemic, but if we do get shut down.
Things happen to where people build slowly because they build slowly and it takes time and maybe it takes money too.
But the problem is then it leads to unsafe situations
Right,
when
as long as
something
it's
is
not
partially.
punishing people because they don't.
It's
have
not
the money to
punishing,
finish.
it's just that it's time and money on our end and we end up not covering the cost of our building department basically breaks even. You know, and as we increase our costs in the building department, we need to increase our costs of the
I just don't
people.
like any set dollar amounts. I think it's always gonna hit people differently. I think it should always be based on the value of what you're building.
Well, that's kind of what it is on
Well, with the square foot.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's based on square foot, but square foot is kind of the value, because the cost of it is increased by the number of square feet. So you need more materials, that's why. And then the flat rate is to just cover the generic costs. But so the renewal of the building permit is you would have to pay the renewal of the square footage.
Michael, did you see that the large scale solar is actually $4,000 for the initial?
That's for
permit?
the initial permit.
Do you not want people building that?
You have to go through a significant process to get that permit in the first place. That's for the building of it.
What defines large scale?
It's
like-
in our.
It's in our zoning code.
Yeah, but it's not like.
You don't have it memorized?
No, it's
No,
not.
we
it's-
just spent the past 2 years. Should have it.
We've just spent the past 4 years. Because Michael was on the.
I wrote the original in 2012,
He should know.
but I can't quote it chapter and verse. Sorry, it's 227
Is
pages.
it in kilowatts?
It is. Now, I do want to point out, though, the renewal of other permits is only 50% of the original cost, so they're not proposing to change that one, so.
Well, that's probably a mistake. That we should.
I think the other one should match it, 50% of,
That's what it was.
yeah, I think we should go back.
They
I don't like charging
they,
someone fully and
yeah.
penalizing them because they didn't get their project done within 2 years.
Yeah, I mean,
personally
things
think
like,
that's wrong.
these other ones, these other permits are roof permits, generators, fences. Those are not things that people drag out 2 years. I guarantee you, they probably have very few renewals of other permits just based on what those permits are. I mean, it's a sign permit. You're gonna build your sign and put it up and it's gonna be done in a week. You're not gonna take 2 years to put a sign up.
Yeah, but if we're only taking 50% of a $4,000 fee, if it takes more than 2 years to build for a large solar field, that's $4,000, and we're only taking 50% and not making them pay
It's $4,000 per acre.
per acre, that's what I mean, if we're not, for our highest number thing, we're not making them repay the original costs after 2 years. when
Well,
the
I
permit
think-
expires, I think that's a bad precedent.
But as Mary Lou said, it's based on the actual amount of work, so the actual amount of work on a building permit is very different than the actual amount of work on a large scale solar.
I would
There's
just
a
be
lot more
interested. Yeah, I would just be interested in how many how many have to be renewed? How,
many
in other words,
building
how many
If you wanna-
common,
if
how
we can-
common is it?
We can table it for the moment, and I can get those answers if you'd rather do that.
I think instead of tabling this entire pay scale, at least.
No, we'll
personally, we
just, what I
should-
was gonna say is table that one section.
I-
Renewal. We'll leave it at 50%.
Yeah, I
I'll
was gonna
find
say
out the
leave it at
answers and then we
where-
can amend it to.
I agree, I would prefer that too.
So the renewal of building permits is gonna stay at 50% of original permit costs for the moment.
Otherwise, we're adopting this.
Yeah, with the other amendments that we made in the square footage of sheds. And Aaron, if you
And
can
the
just,
short-term depreciation.
right, that we removed. And Aaron, if you can follow up with them. And
I can.
try to find out the numbers that are. I mean, I have no idea what the numbers are. I mean, we issue probably 1,000 building permits a year or more. And, you know, large scale solar, we've issued 2 permits ever. So that's kind of my point. You know, it's not something that. And maybe ask them too, Aaron, how many of the miscellaneous permits are extended as well, because I doubt many of them are, if any.
I don't think they inspect those, so I doubt.
They inspect at completion, but there's no interim inspections of them. I know that because I got a fence permit from them, and they came out when I was completed. I called them and they came out and inspected my fence and said, "You're done."
I think they're different.
Oh, really? Maybe it's because agricultural.
Yeah.
They came out and inspected mine. So. Okay, so as amended, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Transfer station. Aaron, you and I talked.
Yeah.
I'm not proposing any changes except for one. I'm proposing currently the appliances in Freon are $14. We are not breaking even. We are losing money on those because of the cost of removing the Freon. So I'm proposing we go from $14 to $16. So a $2 increase. That will allow us to break even. So, because we do get the cost of the remaining metal, which gets thrown in the scrap bin.
It also makes more sense with the ticket system.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of 7 punches, it's now 8 punches.
So rather than reading the whole thing,
Do you have other ones that you wanted to change?
no.
Okay, so instead of reading everything else, I'm just gonna say as presented with the one change of appliances as presented from $14 to $16.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
And just for the public, there is an increase to the town for costs of per tonnage. But we have done the math and anticipate that the $35 permit fee and the current cost per bag per punch will allow us to continue that at least for one more year. So we're not proposing any, and we haven't changed those fees now in 2 years, Aaron.
I'm sorry. I'm just being distracted.
So we haven't changed the fees in
We have not
years, 3
changed
years,
in
2 years.
2 or 3 years. I feel like it might be 3.
Might be
because
3.
I don't think we changed it, so
No, we haven't actually, because B was on the board.
He was on when we did the reassessment with not having the scales.
Okay, so all in favor?
Wait, I've got a question. There's
Yep.
something I noticed. On the MSW, you
Yep.
have less than 30 gallons, 30 to 55 gallons, and then greater than 72. You don't have anything for between 55
That's because there are not garbage bags. 55 and then 55 bags jump to 72. There's nothing else in between in the bag. That's for bagged garbage for the MSW.
Okay, it says cans on part for the 72.
Yeah, but it's the bags or the equivalent cans.
Okay.
That's what the industry makes them as. There's the 30-gallon bags. There's the 55-gallon bag. There's the 35. There's the 55, and then they make the really gargantuan 72-gallon bags. So that's why we've done it that way. It just covers because it goes by the size of the container.
They requested that we
Okay.
add that because people were saying that it was the middle one when they would bring in this giant can.
Okay.
Like this is the large one, so it's only 4, but it was like it fits like 5 large bags in it.
Right.
So that's just to say like a visual, like these big garbage cans they bring in.
Do you just want to say over 55?
No,
No,
because it fits the size that they are. It's
Okay.
been this way now for 3 years. People don't
Okay.
question it. I don't want to
Okay.
overthink it.
Oh, no,
That's
I
how
get
we
why.
used to have it, and then we changed it because this is how,
Yeah,
like,
this is how they come in. Well, yeah, this is how it comes into the, yeah, we spent, 3 years ago, we spent a lot of time getting the right.
When we changed this 2 years ago, that part, we added that one.
Okay.
Mary Lou, we can invent the 60-gallon garbage bag and make millions. I'll
That's
partner
right.
with-
There
I'll
you
partner
go.
with
Well,
you.
Okay, it does say large cans. The others do not say bags. It just says gallons. So I
Right.
can see somebody saying, well, it's a big bag, but it's only filled with 60 gallons. I couldn't fit it
No,
all in the
it's-
55. Okay,
You wanna add the word bags, we can, but
Well, but some, oh,
yeah,
we did
let's,
do that,
let's,
yeah.
let's leave it alone.
whatever you guys are, whatever's been
It's
working.
working and yeah,
I
it's
still
working.
have a fantasy of doing a visual that shows pictures. And I haven't
When-
done it. It's
when
been
you're
4
done-
years, maybe my new term.
When you're done with the website, Erin.
Yes.
Okay. So I have a motion and a second as proposed. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
With
and
this function now.
you can remember to help me remind or tell them tomorrow that we've changed that.
Okay.
Kate, if you can change whatever you change.
So next.
Okay, planning board fees, and I am proposing some changes on this. The town board establishes the 2024 fee schedule effective January 1, 2024, as recommended by the planning board chair as presented. Actually, this would be as recommended by the supervisor, because I'm proposing the changes based on our costs, and I'll tell you why later. So the conferences would be the same. The home occupation is currently, apologize, I can't minimize. Can you bring up the website?
Yeah.
Actually, if you bring up the organizational meeting of last
I
year,
know.
and I'm sorry I didn't put the current prices in there. They're not significant increases, but we are costing ourselves money now with our planning consultant.
Yeah.
And so the home occupation, I think, is currently 200.
Okay, 200,
Okay, I'm proposing to go to 250. Sign permit is 150.
right.
I'm proposing to go to 200. The special use permit existing structure is currently 350. I'm proposing to go to 400. Basically, I'm proposing $50 increases. Special use permit for new construction, 4,000 square feet or less, is currently 450, proposing 500. Greater than 4,000 square feet, is proposed at 700, it's currently 650. The same for the site plan approval. The minor subdivision is currently
300 plus 150.
okay, so I'm proposing that we leave the 300 the same, but the 150 increase to $200 for each new lot. The major subdivision is 750 plus 150. So I'm proposing 750 to 200. The recreation fees remain the same. The natural subdivision and lot line adjustment, which are one meeting mostly, leaving the same. So I'll make the motion since I'm the one presenting it. Somebody have a second?
I'll second.
With our planning consultant, he is billing to escrow when he's serving the planning board for a specific application, but he has been, and I think with great success, advising the planning board on various things, doing reviews of our local laws that we're sending them. I think it's very valuable, but we have to be able to pay those costs. We did not even come close in 2023 of bringing in the revenue to match the expenses of the planning board. It operated at a significant loss last year. I know it's $50 increases, but they're $50 one-time increases on the application process. Where also the attorney fees are still the same as last year, but the same with we pay for the first hour of the attorney fees of the review out of these permits. So if you look, currently the attorney is $225 an hour. If you subtract 1 hour of attorney fees from these applications, now you've covered most of the cost of the application right there. And there's very little else. So we are lower than many, many other communities, if not every other community. So, and we haven't raised the fees in 3 or 4 years. So I think it's warranted. So, anybody else have
We
any
discussed this
thoughts?
when we changed
Yeah,
who the planning board had, so I'm fine with it.
okay. I just want to make sure everybody understands, because this didn't come from them. This one came from me, because I looked at the numbers at the end of the December and I was like, oof, we didn't do very well, so. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. A planning board escrow fees. The town board establishes escrow fee procedure effective January 1, 2024. Applicants may be charged costs related to reviews by the board attorney, board engineer, and other specialist firms, and public hearing notice fees as may be required. Escrow requirements are determined upon application review by the respective planning or zoning board chair. These fees are deposited with the supervisor's office in the escrow account for reimbursement of professional fees incurred during the review of applications. Additional funding shall be required if the escrow account is depleted or reaches less than 10% of the initial deposit. Upon the end of the application review process, when all professional billings have been satisfied, the town supervisor will remit any remaining funds back to the owner. Do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
One second.
It's working very well. I will just leave it at that. So all in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're letting them set the escrow fee because they estimate what the cost of the application is going to be. Zoning Board of Appeals fees. I am proposing 2 changes and will also say recommended by the supervisor. Sorry about the cut and paste. As presented, so the conferences are the same. The area variance is currently $200. I'm proposing it be $250. Use variances are $300. I'm proposing $350. The appeal of the code enforcement determination is $300. However, if it is successfully appealed, we refund the amount and do not charge anything. So with that, I'd ask for a motion.
I'll make the motion. I'll tell you.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Okay,
Before you go to adjourn, can I ask one question on something we tabled?
absolutely.
For, the highway superintendent duties, since it,
Those were those additional rail trail and building manager that we needed.
I was just worried since it's supposed to snow, that it has the snow removal, parking areas and town parking areas and walkways, that's
will be
just, that's
okay.
automatic.
That's an automatic. It's
I
just,
just wasn't sure if we
it's-
had to do
it's-
that.
the only reason I put it in there is because the highway superintendent's job by law
Is
is
the
the
road.
roads
not
and
our-
bridges and culverts. They always have plowed up parking lots, and I don't anticipate that they're gonna stop. If they do, we have a buildings guy, I'll assign him to do it.
Okay, fair enough. I just wanted to
No.
check on that.
I appreciate it, but yes, and thank you. I had quite I just included all that because it's above and beyond the highway superintendent's duties. Okay, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn the organizational meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a
Or second, sorry.
We also.
Yeah, we need the break.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Want to just leave?
We'll leave
wanna
it.
Stop or just leave it streaming?
I can mute it so people don't hear us
Okay.
like.
If
So,
you didn't
um,
stop the video.
Slower. I have it up.
Okay, unmuted. Okay, so we will call to order the business meeting. So we have already done the roll call. All council members are continue to be present. We're going to do a new resolution. Town board accepts the agendas prepared by the town supervisor. We are going to add a resolution on discussion of a request for proposal presented by the highway superintendent.
Should we add an executive session?
Sure, if we want to do that, yes. Okay, so and we'll add an executive session to discuss, and I don't have the exact language in front of me. The appointment of a particular person.
I'll
So do I have that motion?
make that motion.
I'll second.
Second as amended. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The financial report, I realized after I wrote this, I did give you guys the November one, even though it was late. The December is not completed yet since it's the 4th and just have not had time to complete it. But I do have the numbers, the revenue from the general fund, 2023, $328,022.74. The highway fund, $144,297.23. Payment of the general fund abstract, $49,889.52. Highway fund, $49,797,000.96. Okay, I can get this to you if you want. So, the street lighting fund, $1,053.31. The capital fund, $11,980. The ambulance fund, $47,675. The escrow fund, $2,155. The total expenditures in the general fund, $151,208.45. Highway fund, $114,577.52. Street lighting fund, $1,153.31. Capital fund, $11,980. Ambulance fund, $47,675. Escrow fund, $2,155. The tax rate report, I apologize. I neglected to bring it with me, and I will report out at the next meeting. We are, though, the lowest in general fund, at just slightly over 50 cents per thousand. The nearest town to us is Gardner at 68 cents per thousand. In highway fund, we are the 3rd or 4th lowest. I am confident that with the equalization rates applied, we will continue to be the lowest town taxes in 2024 of all the communities in Ulster County. So, and I think by a significant margin. So thank you guys for all the hard work on the budget. It's worth that whole month of meetings that we do every October. Correspondence report. I put one thing that was received this week in your folders. This is from New York State regarding and Kate, I think Stephanie gave you a copy of this, but I also put a packet in there. Annually, New York State comes and inspects our municipal shelter. We were awarded the satisfactory result, which is the highest that can be given. And they also review the dog control officer's inspection report, also given the satisfactory report. So as always, thank you, Jill and Kevin, for all the work that they do. I'm not sure why they sent us 2 copies of the inspection report. They sent me 3 letters. Normally we get 2, and I realized they are an exact copy of the other one. So it was that good. It was that good. But that is the correspondence report. And I did forward to you some communication from the attorney that free to review. Grant updates, the Algarville Firehouse, the Harold Lipton Community Center, that is a big holdover from, that should not be there anymore. That was dumb. The Algarville Firehouse, the methane filters were installed. They appear to be successfully achieving their desired goal. They did get the rope attached to the school bell and run down into the area in the firehouse, so now the school bell can be rung. They also installed the controls for the siren. However, we were kind of guessing to the amperage that needed to be used on the wiring, and they pre-wired. And when they went up in the boom lift and opened up the siren again and ran a test, the amperage draw was considerably higher than anticipated. The electricians had never seen an amperage draw by a siren of this capacity. No, they just had to rewire. It's very possible. It's a 1950s siren. They didn't know what they were dealing with. We were guessing, and they now have to run 100 amp wire. They had run 60 amp wire, anticipating that would be more than enough overage. So they had to go back in and rerun 100 amp wire. They are not charging us for the service because we pre-wired to try to save time on the rental of the boom lift, so we didn't have to rent the boom lift for more than a week. So everything was all planned, and then the best laid plans. So Peter was here, but I haven't spoken to him since Christmas, so I don't know the result if they finished rewiring. I will say that I want to thank Peter and Bob Garrett from the fire district, who have really helped us hand in hand on getting this project to completion, but we're this close. And that's why in that one resolution, I did not include the employees of here for the primary day, because the primaries in June will be back in Algarville Firehouse. So we will be reopened by then.
So the water treatment, that's the second piece, because there was a filter.
Right, the filter was installed because of sediment.
And then
we
they
knew
did the methane system.
So after the methane was not there present when the well was drilled. There was no methane present. Over time, in the year and a half interim in between, somehow methane, and there's veins and there's pockets, and so now the methane filtration system is installed and vents it into the atmosphere, does what it's supposed to do. The fire district paid for that. It actually was cheaper than originally anticipated. If there is leftover funding from the state grant, the state has already told us that they will submit all that to us as a I forgot the name of the form, but we fill out a form, and whatever is left, they will submit back to us, and then we can reimburse the fire district for anything that was left over from the funding. They just have to pay out all these other bills first, and that will be the last bill that's paid. So the fire district will likely get some of the funding back for the filtration, the methane. The Boyce Mill Road Bridge, there's nothing really new to report. We had our meeting, which I think I already reported out on in December, pretty well attended from neighbors. Aaron and Sam were here. Answered a lot of questions of the neighbors, and since then I've had follow-up communication with some of the neighbors. 2024 Bridge New York, today, CT Mails representatives came and viewed the two bridges that we proposed for them to apply for. Took lots of photos, are looking in with their structural engineers. The Project 32 bridge, they looked and they think the abutments are in sufficient condition to remain, and that we would just need to replace the surface and the framework.
But you're gonna tell me I'm hardly unsafe, but.
No. But the question rose of how high above 8 tons would we want to raise the limit to? And so Jeff is working with them to, and we provided this, the state just inspected it in June of 23, so we had the most recent inspection, provided all that. So they are gonna work on those 2 applications and get them filed on our behalf by the end of January, which is when they are due. And then we wait and see if we get the funding. So. Upcoming meetings and events, I already did announce, but for anybody who may not have been listening earlier, January 10th and January 20th, we will have meetings here at the community center regarding the zoning and zoning map. The 10th is from 6:30, beginning at 6:30 p.m. The 20th on a Saturday is from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Mary Lou, anything to report out?
Just that I'm finishing up working on the contract for the security for the review of their changes. So if you want to put that on the agenda for next week, I'm fairly certain we'll have a final contract
Okay.
on that. And also I'm working with Jerry and Mike on something in the building department, which I think we'll probably have to take to Supreme Court to get somebody to shut down something they're doing. Obviously, it's litigation, so I don't want to talk about it too much here. I'm reviewing the file. When I am more sure of it, I'll send you guys an attorney's memo.
You froze up, but I think we got.
Oh, did you
Froze
get
up
it?
on the word memo.
Got it.
That was it. The end.
Yeah. It was a great freeze up though.
I only freeze on time.
There you go. Kate, anything to report out from town court? Tax
Not
court?
really, we're just kind of in full swing of closing out 2023 and starting 2024, which is a very busy day from us from the day we come back. So it's chaotic, so you know, some other things fall at the wayside until we get through January. January is always the month that we just want.
And I just want to say, if you ever want to watch though a well-oiled team of operation, the tax bills came in on the
Thursday.
28th, Thursday the
Thursday.
28th, late Thursday morning. By Friday, they were all mailed out, and they go through and they pull out all the ones that are in escrow payments because they're paid by the banks. So we don't pay the postage on those. They also go through and they combine people who own multiple parcels into one envelope. So we're not paying 5 and 6 fees on postage. And they also folded and inserted all of the inserts on our behalf. And for 4,900 in some parcels in a day and a half.
Wow.
And they do an amazing job. And I just really want to single them out for the amount of work that they, and run their office dealing with customers coming in, although I think people were, because they have to sort of run the gauntlet of tax bills to get to the counter, and I think some people avoid it. Those days, they just kind of look, oh, I'm not going in there. I know not to go. I walk in, I say good morning, and I head to my office and don't hesitate there because I know to get out of the way. So,
So
but
Kate, I'm going to apologize to you because when I was at town hall, I stopped and socialized with you guys on the 29th. I apologize.
that's okay.
Well, that's really it. I don't have the monthly report for December yet.
That's
Still
okay.
waiting for other
Yep.
departments.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, we're all sort of in limbo and waiting on getting everything finalized. So it's only really 2 days back from New Year's. Highway superintendent report, nothing new to report, except there is a snowstorm forecast for some time in some amount of snow. And depending on which weather forecast you read, it may be anywhere from 1 inch to 20 inches. So we'll see what we actually get. But I'm sure that they will be out plowing at some point over the weekend, and we just want everybody to stay safe out there, residents and workers. And all our EMS and fire people. Liaison reports. Erin, I'll start with you.
Sure, so I'm
Michael,
still,
do the consent. I didn't, Rich emailed. I'm sorry, yeah, sorry, Erin.
you okay with that?
Yeah.
Councilman? So for agriculture, I'm still trying to schedule that first meeting, hoping it's gonna happen this month. I have not gotten the monthly report from code enforcement, but I think it's because it's just a short week. And they usually send that to me. I did miss the ECC meeting last month. So I don't have much to report on that, except that they've announced their Thursday meeting.
Saw something about turtles.
Yes, it's about turtles. And, oops, sorry, I didn't have that pulled up. Then I'm just looking at so for human resources, I do actually have something that I wanted to share for next, month or for next week. Okay. The ECC Timid Turtles of the Rondout Valley. The third Thursday, it's January 18th at 6:30 on Zoom. And it's 2 of the Ulster County's most elusive turtles are the wood and the spotted turtle. And their secretive nature means that few people have the chance to see them in the wild. So they're going to be presenting about these turtles.
Great.
What day? What day?
Oh, that's January 18th.
Third Thursday,
And
they
it's a
do this
Zoom.
joint.
I can forward you. So I know this is surprise, I have a proposal. But I saw that I was on the agenda to be the human resources liaison and had an idea that I want to put on the agenda for the workshop meeting, which is to create a tiny subcommittee of myself and Councilman Sneeseth to support the supervisor's office in HR related tasks. The main thing that we want to do is alternate in hosting a monthly staff meeting and then report back to the town board. So I drafted a resolution that we could talk about. I'll send you an email, Mike, but we could maybe talk about next week. And then
I can tell you, we did these at one point. I can tell you the problems we ran into and the problems we didn't run into. We did run into some problems.
okay. That was just, we talked this week about things that we thought were good, and this was an idea that we had to support your office and that kind of stuff. So then on the planning board, the planning board's meeting is this Monday, the 8th. I spoke with Chairman Grasso. They are making several decisions coming up. The DeJager subdivision that's been ongoing for a while is up for the decision. They closed the public hearing, so that decision will be issued within the next month. I think. I don't know that they're making the decision on Monday, but they will.
I think he's gonna have the workshop meeting.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have it at the end of the month. There's a public hearing for the Acworth Speedway special use permit to have commercial events facility. And that is a really interesting application that I imagine is going to have a big public hearing turnout, both in support and also I think people who live in the area will come out with concerns. So I'll be at this month's planning board meeting. Since the moratorium has ended, they have not had an outpouring of applications come through. So right now they only have one application that's going to be on the agenda on Monday that's a 4-lot subdivision, but otherwise there have not been a flood of applications coming in of projects that would have been prevented during the moratorium. Chairman Grasso looks forward to filling the board with appointments. Right now there is a vacancy, so the alternate is seated until we fill that seat. He just wanted to share that he feels this board is very good and is doing a good job, and there's a lot of great input. And he's looking forward to that continuing in the 2024 year. And then for the website, I am hoping to schedule a meeting with Mike and Kate in the next 2 weeks, so we can, and probably Rich also, so we can talk about the management and upkeep of the website and schedule the training for any staff that will be doing anything on the website, so that we have that. And I just need to schedule that with Revise when we need to do the training. So I talked to them this week about doing at the end of January, or they said that they had availability early February for that too, but I thought we should meet first.
Are you to the point of the data being moved over that we can start taking a look at it? Or-
Yeah, I think by
that-
like in 2 weeks when we meet, we'll be able to look at it.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, I have a lot of it done. I'm
No.
planning on spending this snow day finishing it. And then for I don't really have anything for the transfer station. We do have a vacancy, and that's that position. So, but yeah.
I have had a couple of people verbally reach out, express interest. So
Okay.
I'll talk to you more.
Okay, great. That's my.
Okay, we'll just go around the table. Charlotte?
All right, so for, the, recreation, I don't have anything yet. I do plan on attending their
No,
meeting.
and I
as long as my
realize
flu
it's-
stays scheduled. I talked to Ashley yesterday about something else, and I should have just asked her for an
Do you
update, but
know of
I
any
blanked.
events happening? I know they're doing a,
There's a
paint-
paint class, I don't know.
there's an adult paint class in the evening and a youth paint class. No, the adult one was during the day and the youth one was in the evening, but I don't remember.
Oh, I have it here. So the adult paint class will be Wednesday, January 17th at 10 a.m. here at the Harold Lipton Community Center. Please call to sign up, and they didn't post the.
They moved the date because
One,
originally
yeah.
they scheduled it the same day as the planning board's workshop meeting.
Gotcha, yes,
So
but
she moved the date, but I don't know when she moved it
I do plan on attending, their meetings as best as I can. They host them on Wednesday mornings, which is unfortunately when I get my 2,000+ pound orders of food at the food pantry in every other week, so, every couple months. But I do plan on being there this month, hopefully. For the housing committee, I wasn't able to, I came and opened their meeting for them, but it was the same night as our open house, so I wasn't able to attend. They are gonna be meeting this month via Zoom, and they are going to discuss moving forward, meeting only via Zoom to make it easier for attendance, and they can do that because they're not required to do open meetings law like we are. So once we get the Zoom account set up, I'll find out this month and make them make a final decision on it.
I have it set up for now, for this month on
Okay,
the current Zoom account. So
cool, great.
that's
They-
the 17th.
Yes,
Okay.
17.
Yeah.
It'll be at 6 o'clock
Yeah.
and it'll be via Zoom.
And I can do the same. I can
determine-
open it up and they can.
To
take it
kind
up.
of help free up the community center for another night, they are probably leaning more towards doing Zoom only to make it easier, but I don't want to promise that until I know for sure after talking to them. They had proposed and asked about doing a press release about short-term rentals that contradicted their recommendations about how we set the cap. So I let them know that that's kind of out of their purview, and that if they want to request we release any press releases, they have to advise the board to do that, but they can't do that as a commission themselves to just release press releases, about malls in town. And elder care, I talked to Rich the other day. They had a pretty busy holiday season of people calling to have them check in on relatives. I don't believe there was any new sign-ups for our conversation, but they had a lot of like grandkids or children calling from out of state to check in on their elderly grandparents or aunts, uncles, loved ones throughout the holiday season. So he did a few of those, and we're talking about things we can do next year to be more involved and connected with our seniors, like potentially doing like a drive around and saying hello to everyone signed up for the holidays, just to check in on everyone without people calling first. So there will be discussions of that I'll bring back to you guys.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Michael.
All right, I'll try and remember the right order. So, constabulary report, Supervisor Bates, Town Board of Members. Constabulary answered 14 direct calls for service and other duties in December of 2023, including 9 neighbor-to-neighbor quality of life complaints, 3 resident traffic complaints on Clay Hill, Sampsonville, Lower Whitfield Road, 2 environmental complaints on Queens Highway, Lower Whitfield Road, 2 new building department violations, 0 new court cases opened, 10 court proceedings remained open, 0 court proceedings closed. Interesting occurrences during the holiday month, more neighbor-to-neighbor quality of life complaints than usual, with noise, traffic volume, parking, and trespassing being the most prevalent. Short-term rental properties continue to generate significant number of these complaints, mainly on holidays, Fridays, and weekends. Dumping of household trash and other debris on town roads remains an ongoing issue. This month, all complaints have been diffused without any further action necessary. We continue to monitor the areas in which the most complaints frequently occur. For Miller. ZBA, I spoke with Chair Zarowski. He did highlight again, they still need the alternate position filled, so we can get somebody in there. That'd be great. I think they have 2 public hearings that are scheduled for their meeting on the 18th. It's a Thursday. One's an area variance. I think one's a lot line improvement. I think they have 2 ongoing applications that they're working through there. So I'll save the best for last. Fire EMS, nothing fire district, but glad to hear it's moving along with Algerville. I did speak with Dave Bowen. Still haven't seen financials. KFAS. I don't know if you've seen anything. So
Yeah, do you mind if I jump in?
No, go
So KFAS has their former treasurer, who stepped down from 2 years ago, has stepped back in to assist on a short-term basis. Have gotten them caught up. We got checks actually today for all the outstanding heating oil and fuel oil that we had sent them. I still have to send them December bills that we just approved on the 28th. But they are now caught up in the money they owe the town back, and
she's working on that.
I believe she's trying to close out the year end and get us a new set of financials as of the year end. This is a short-term solution. She has no intentions of coming back as their treasurer, but she stepped in at the request of several of their members and is helping assist the process and teaching in the process. I'm told that they hired the Marbletown bookkeeper for future.
That's the last I heard.
I don't know if that means they won't have a treasurer anymore. That part is unclear to me. But I don't know if the bookkeeper will then report back to the treasurer, but they have hired them. So there's some improvements happening.
And I haven't had a chance to link up with Joe. I need to give him a call to check in on Marbletown, see what's going there. Spectrum, I don't know. So here's the last conversation I had. I had some preliminary numbers. There was some question about addresses. There's an address on Cherrytown Road that has, based on satellite imagery, 3 buildings on it. The question was, do all 3 need to be connected?
Because the initial pricing was only for one. But if it is only one, then the initial pricing might be different. Here's what I think the bottom line is. I think it's about the initial quote before their contribution is about 140. I think they told me they could contribute 30 to that. When I do that math in my head, that says 110 to connect the 3 remaining gaps and all 15 houses. Connect for 110. They have not said that in an email.
If you can, let's you and I talk offline. If you give me the address of what that property is, then I can probably answer that question.
Yeah, I tried to, yeah. We'll talk offline.
I think I know which property it is, and I think the answer is yes, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, you do. We've talked about it before. So I'm inclined, and we can discuss it later, to just say, give us the price to connect all 15 buildings, which would include the 3 on that property. Let's get that cost, and then let's get to the red line. And then we can have a discussion about whether or not the board wants to move forward.
Yeah.
So let's discuss that later on.
And that's in line with what we have set aside in the capital project fund for, that would pay the bulk of that fee.
If the number doesn't change, right, again.
And for Emily, the number has been a ping pong ball. Every time Michael talks to them, the number changed radically with no real rationale as to why, which is why he's kind of got that exasperated look.
I'm great.
No,
This is my standard. So I think that's it. I don't have anything on parks. I'm excited.
Okay, nothing new to report on parks, other than the rail trail is completed.
Yeah,
They are completed.
there's a couple areas that got a little washed out. Yeah, but
In the
new
new section?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll be on that. I will let them know that, because
they got a lot of rain.
I know it did. Kate,
So
HPC.
HPC did not meet in December. They will be meeting this coming Monday, the 8th, because their scheduled meeting falls on Martin Luther King this year. Day. So they will be meeting on Monday, so I don't really have anything to report.
and just, will you take care of the new member, or the reappointments? Will you take care of letting them all know?
Oh,
Just get sworn in, and then the one member, I don't want to name names, but the one member of the HPC that did not respond back, I just need to find out if they want to be reappointed or not. And I don't know if anybody on the HPC can.
Okay. Okay,
I'll tell you tomorrow who it is. I just don't.
no, it's fine.
And there's still 4 or 5 vacancies at least, if not more. The HPC can have 15 members, so they have a lot of room for. The assessor has reached out to the company that he would prefer to work with to get an estimate on reval. It's the company that everybody in Ulster County is talking with. We would have to decide, because it is professional services. We don't necessarily have to go out for bids. We can. He's going to put together a proposal that we put it in the budget, but once he gets some pricing ideas back from them, he would like to come talk to us about a plan, a schedule. And I will tell you, in the last 3 weeks, he has found 2 complete structures that were not on the rolls, and they both dated back to a considerable amount of time. I mean, I'm talking more than 10 years. So he continues to find things that should be on the tax rolls that are not. And I think we're getting every penny of what we're paying for our assessor in his work. So I just want to compliment the assessor and his assistant. We have a very steady stream of people coming in. It's exemption time now. They have a line, usually 2 or 3 deep, waiting to get in, and they're assisting them in providing their forms and getting the right information, which is always a little bit confusing for some of the seniors. So, because they need their 2022 tax return documents because of that's how it works. And they often get confused and bring in 2023 things or they come in and say, we don't have our 2023 yet. So we're getting there, but they're seeing people on a very regular basis. And that's all I really have to report. So we'll move into public comment. Meg, thank you for waiting patiently.
Yes, I'm here to talk specifically about Resolution 30 of 2019. I've been waiting patiently. And I'm gonna try to stick with now going forward. So Resolution 30 of 2019, number 14, says that the constables can do civil and criminal investigations. I find that inconsistent with the law and law enforcement. When you went to civil service and the test in Ulster County, and again, it's not Ulster County that made this complicated. This is complicated. Okay, there's no other town or nobody in Ulster County has constables. So we don't need constables to run our justice court. And with the constabulary report, it's not about transparency and accountability to me because none of it can be foiled. So I really think it's about time this board looks at Resolution 30 of 2019 because it needs to be updated. It is inconsistent with what the county has said that personnel is. So, and it's not just the county. It's when that resolution and those duties were redone, it now gives the town supervisor the town supervisor or the town board to give written authorization to the chief. Okay, so that's another part that has to be discussed. Because the county says it's the town board. So again, I want to remind you that no one else has constables to run their courthouse. This is very complicated. It's like, and again, the Division of Criminal Justice keeps the registry. So is this complicated? Yeah. There's a whole lot of things that have to happen. And the supervisor is responsible for that registry. So I am asking you to look at that resolution again, to make some changes. And I also think that the constabulary report doesn't really shouldn't be a part of our meeting. Okay. Because if I can't foil that information, then that's not what government's about. So to say that Ulster County made it complicated, this is complicated, okay? And now that it's two more points, now that it's a part-time job, you're going to have a part-time person annually working more than 40 hours a week, which is a problem, I believe, for civil service. Also, if you have an employee that is on your payroll, I don't know that you can have that person work off the clock at no cost, which would be our website coordinator. That's just another thing in the law that I'm not sure you can do, because he's an employee, he should be paid. And I welcome a public forum on this issue. I'm not holding my breath. But I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to respond a little bit of what I can clarify. So civil service is very different from New York State law. Our constables are classified by New York State law as peace officers. Civil service is a job description. It does not include every duty. There are parts of law that would elaborate on what is allowed and what is not. Under peace officer, under the law establishing peace officers, they are allowed to do civil and criminal. It doesn't matter whether Ulster County's job description includes that or not. They are peace officers and they are allowed by other laws in the state. So if this is not a back and forth, you had your time to comment. Now I'm going to speak. You're not going to get more time. You've had your time and now I'm responding back. So I apologize, but it's not a debate. So if you're going to leave, then I won't continue, but I'm trying to answer
That
your,
would be a good idea.
okay?
Are we allowed to ask a question?
No, we're not. It's board member response time. It's not a back and forth. You can certainly reach out to her privately. Yeah, I mean, if the board would like to continue, even though she left. There's a lot of misinformation that was given in that statement. So I just would like to clarify. Civil service is not the same thing as, and Mary Lou could perhaps, but she may not be as well versed in it as I am. So, and I'm not blaming it on Ulster County. I'm just saying that Ulster County in the scoring, not in the scoring, in the releasing of the information of the test scores has done it differently than they've ever done it before. And that's why I say they've complicated it, because normally they presented the list to the municipality then canvassed the people. And they have yet to release the entire list to me. They've only released the top 5 scores, whereas all the constables who took the test got a copy of the entire list. I mean, I'm sure I could get it if I boiled for it.
A copy of what list?
The list of the scores of the test.
Oh.
So each person got a letter saying, here's the results of the 16 people that took the test, and they can see where they scored. We as the municipality who are seeking to fill this position, we're not given the same information, but I don't know why. And I've continued to try to call and email for the last 6 weeks and gotten no response or minimal response. But I'll be glad to clarify for the board either privately or publicly the misinformation that was presented there. So, but we don't need to take it up tonight. Okay. Does anybody else have any other town board issues they'd like to bring up? And Aaron, if you can email me that resolution, I appreciate that. I had something to ask you about the ECC, but I don't think so.
I already told them.
Yeah.
I know, but I think we need a name, just always do
Oh,
Thursday,
just-
Turtle Talks. always.
Yeah, so that is what, third Thursday,
Yeah.
Turtle Talk.
I think it's a great idea.
And Emily, so the ECC, you can subscribe to their Facebook page, which they do a third Thursday series that they rotate. It's Town of Rochester, Marbletown, and is it Wawarsing?
All of
Oh, no, it's
Olive.
Olive, I think.
Those 3 ECCs are started the forum, but every third Thursday they rotate around and each one hosts a topic that they broadcast, and that's some really fascinating topics. I mean, I've gone to a number of them, and just the information that they're providing is really, it's very informative and it's interesting. So, and they get 40 or 50 people online, so it's great. It's just such a fabulous idea. Okay, moving on to minutes. The Town of Rochester Town Board accepted the minutes of the November 30th, 2023, December 28th, 2023 audit meetings, and that one is as amended, and the December 28th public hearings as presented.
I'll make that motion.
That was second.
Second.
you didn't get them, so you can abstain if you choose to. Just so you know, you don't have to have been at the meeting to vote. You just have to vote that you have read them and understood them, and that's the rules on voting for minutes. But obviously, because I don't even think you got them. So,
abstain.
yeah, so all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And thank you for abstaining, because you certainly didn't read them if you didn't get them, so. And I'll have to work with you to get, your email is ready to go, and I apologize, we got sidetracked today, didn't get it set up. Kate, did I give you a copy of the donation? I forgot that, did I give you two?
Yep.
That's why, I lost one, and that's why you had two. Town of Rochester Town Board accepts donations, and it's in your packet. We received $400 from Arlene Levine for the senior holiday brunch. Various cash donations of $63 from the senior holiday brunch, and $199.03 from the clothing shed St. Pauli Textile. So I'd ask for the
I'll
motion.
make that motion.
Second. Have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Approval of loan pursuant to General Municipal Law 9A, Town of Rochester Town Board authorizes the supervisor to cause a loan to be made by the general fund to the highway fund in the amount of $200,000. Said loan to be repaid in full, including the monthly interest generated by the amount of the loan as soon as the 2024 highway fund taxes are received and not later than February 29, 2024. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so for discussion, the highway fund does not carry a lot of fund balance. They have some money left over in their budget right now. They are waiting on, and this is partially on us in that we have not submitted the reimbursal yet for the Bridge New York funds. They will be getting about $90-some thousand back on that. They have a balance in their account of approximately $50,000 right now, until the taxes for 2024 are received from the town clerk tax collector, which comes the beginning of February. So once that money is received, then as supervisor, I disperse it to the various funds. They will be able to continue operating, but in order to be able to operate for the month of January, they need this short-term loan. So that's why they did pay us back the loan that was due the end of December when they got their CHIPS payment, which showed up on December 29th. So it got deposited, and then we took back the money that they owed us. So we have been made whole for. And it's a cash flow issue. It's not a budgeting issue. They actually were under budget for 2023. So it's a cash flow issue. So that's the reason for this. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Just wanted to be clear on what we're. So Mary Lou, I got your amendment. Was that for A or B? No.
It's for whichever one is the disability.
Okay, that's B.
That's big. And,
Okay.
and in that,
So let me do A first, and then you
yep,
can.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, recommended resolution, the Town of Rochester Town Board determines local law A of 2024 will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment. It should be classified as a type 2 action under 6 NYCRR Part 617 criteria. No further seeker review is required. And then the citing is 617.5 C26, routine or continuing agency administration and management, not including new programs or major reordering of priorities that may affect the environment. So do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I have a second.
I'll second.
This is a roll call vote.
Councilman Coleman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Dindal,
Aye.
Councilwoman Anowen,
Aye.
Councilwoman Sneezer.
Aye.
Supervisor Brady.
Aye. Now we will do the same for local law B. Town of Rochester Town Board determines local law B of 2024 will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment. It should be classified as a type 2 action under the following 6 NYCRR Part 617 criteria. No further seeker review is required, and it's for the same reason. Have that motion?
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Councilman Coleman,
Aye.
Councilman Dindal,
Aye.
Councilwoman Anowen,
Aye.
Councilwoman Sneezer.
Here. Or
Supervisor
sorry,
Brady.
guys.
It's okay.
We're almost there, guys. We're
Aye.
almost-
Okay, next we will move to local law 1, and that is the one that Mary Lou does not have comments on. So the Town of Rochester Town Board renames local law A of 2024, a local law amending chapter 128 taxation of the code of the Town of Rochester to local law 1 of 2024 and adopts same and requests the town clerk file notice of adoption with the New York Department of State.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? And this was, Emily, I gave you guys copies of this. This law was done to make our law be in conformity with changes that New York State made on exemptions. So, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay, so next I'm gonna make the presented as is, and then Mary Lou can state her amendments. So, Town of Rochester Town Board renames local law B of 2024, a local law amending chapter 128 taxation of the code of the Town of Rochester, to local law 2 of 2024, and adopts same, requests the town clerk file notice of adoption with the New York Department of State. I have that motion.
Make that motion.
Second.
I have a second. So discussion. So Mary Lou, if you want to make your suggestion.
Yep, and I did send this to everyone.
Yep.
On
I printed out a copy and put it in the folder.
And he printed out a copy, but I did use a phrase twice in my email to you. So I'm just going to read it as it should be, and you can follow along. And that is to edit 128(17)(e)(3) in this law to read as follows. 3, where title is vested in a married person, the combined income of such person and such person's spouse may not exceed such sum except where one spouse or ex-spouse is absent from the property as provided in New York State real property tax law. Previously, this law had referred to another section of the law, of the local law, but when we changed it a couple weeks ago, that section is no longer there, but this is what it said. That section had what we had in.
Also, we're adding this in.
You're taking out.
What's already there. Move 3 and replace it with yours, which is